Welcome to Segra Stadium here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is Game 2 of the Ingalls Big South Championships. Two of the top pitching teams in the league, the USC Upstate Spartans and the Gardner-Webb Running Bulldogs. Alongside Jay Sunhalter, Evan Budrovich getting you ready for first pitch. And Jay, this tournament already has an upset in Game 1. Presbyterian, a 7-2 victory. They move on to the winner's bracket semifinals. And here in Game 2, Gardner-Webb and USC Upstate playing for a chance to meet PC tomorrow at 3.
Yeah, shock in Game 1 with Presbyterian really dominating that ball game. And here in the nightcap, Evan, I think this is really going to come down to which pitching staff will play the best, but also which offense will manufacture some runs.
Take a look at your Sunbelt Rentals starting lineup for the Running Bulldogs. It's a great logo, by the way. And this lineup has a lot of power, Jay. 63 home runs, and KG Parkhurst on the all-conference team had 14 big flies.
Yeah, he's a great player. Right in the middle of that lineup, the first four, dangerous. McClendon's a table setter. This offensive arsenal.
Certainly a big power versus these two teams. And, Jay, our Ingalls keys to the game, how about for USC Upstate? Manufacturing runs. And then for Gardner-Webb, they have to execute in the big moments.
Yeah, and it comes down to we think this is going to be a close ball game because of the pitching staffs. Which offense can manufacture those runs or which one's going to get that big hit in the late inning? So both sides are really going to have to focus on those areas to try to get runners across home plate.
That's because this matchup features the top two pitchers in the Big South Conference, Jordan Marks and Mason Miller, a combined 17 victories between these two. Yeah.
Hey, Evan, do you want me to say anything about those guys before we get into it?
Welcome to Seckers Stadium here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is Game 2 of the Ingalls Big South Championship, and what an opportunity for Gardner-Webb and USC Upstate tonight, as the winner of this game has seen the bracket open wide up here in the Big South Conference because the number 1 seed Campbell lost earlier today to Presbyterian. So the winner of this game takes on Presbyterian tomorrow with 3. The loser of tonight's matchup has to play for their elimination lives against Campbell tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and it'll be 11 a.m. ball game, so a quick turnaround. So there needs to be a sense of urgency here early on, especially in this ball game. Both teams know the importance of getting out to a good start here in the tournament.
What a dynamic matchup we have of top pitchers and top hitting. And for Gardner-Webb, let's look at our Sunbelt Reynolds starting attack. This offense drove in 63 home runs in the year, and Keeji Parkhurst and Patrick Ferguson, that home run duo has been special this season.
Yeah, that's the heart of the order. That's where all the power is. McClendon and Jones do a nice job of table setting for them, getting on base at a high percentage to lead things off.
Jim Chester was named co-coach of the year in the Big South. He leads the squad for the Runnin' Bulldogs. And Jay, let's dive into our Ingalls keys to the game, because we have the 2 best pitchers in this league. So scoring runs will be at a premium tonight. You say for USC Upstate, manufacture runs, and Gardner-Webb must execute in the clutch.
Yeah, and really what it comes down to, which team is going to get the big hit in the big moment. And for Upstate, manufacturing runs, whatever it takes, bunting, getting hit by pitch, stealing bases, you've got to do it. And on the other side, for the Bulldogs, when you've got a big moment in a ball game, you've got to take advantage of it and come up with the hits.
That's what makes tonight's matchup so fascinating. Here is the pitcher of the year in the Big South Conference, Jordan Marks, who is ranked among the best pitchers in the country. He's 10th overall according to D1 Baseball as effective pitchers by strikeout numbers, by wins and losses. And how about 100 strikeouts on the season and a 10-1 record? How has he been so dynamic this year?
Well, he's a bulldog on the mound. He's got that mentality. He has command of his pitches, and he just gets the opponents in tough positions where he can mix in his off-speed pitches. 2.01 ERA, so he has been outstanding all season long.
Jordan Marks is a senior arm who only went 6-7 2 years ago. Had a huge renovation with his fastball. He's bulked up with 20 pounds, and at 6'2", 220 with 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. This is a tough matchup for any offense, even for Gardner-Webb's power attack.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be patient at the plate, try to get into hitters' counts, but that's the challenge with Marks.
So we'll get things started here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is Mitch McClendon, the center fielder, and he swings on the first pitch of the ball game. These 2 starting aces, Mason Miller and Jordan Marks, are both top 100 draft prospects this upcoming summer, and these 2 faced off in a series at USC Upstate, but both coaches told us that was a crazy game. It was 8-5. And neither pitcher got into the 6th in that contest.
Yeah, they never really got into a groove, and everybody thought in that matchup it was going to be a pitcher's duel. It didn't turn out to be that way, but here, moving on later in the season, I think everybody's predicting a really important ball game where these pitchers are going to give their best stuff.
So Mitch McClendon at the top of the order hits 300 in this lineup. One of 3 starters at least 300 or better. Taking on the Big South pitcher of the year in Jordan Marks, who gives up a foul ball. In fact, Campbell had won that award 2 years in a row for pitcher of the year. And now it's USC Upstate, who had the best ERA by a run and a half in the Big South, leaning on their bulldog in Jordan Marks. The 2-2 pitch from Marks is rolled foul again, and a good battle by Mitch McClendon to start this first inning. Gardner-Webb and USC Upstate were tied heading into the final week of the season. Upstate swept their series over UNC Asheville. Gardner-Webb won 2 of 3 against Radford, and that third game, all the seeding was clinched. So basically, Gardner-Webb was playing for the home team or the road team. They elected, if you will, to play on the road, and McClendon leads things off. Marks misses outside with a changeup, and it's 3-2.
You're seeing a changeup, curveball, fastball as well already early on here in this at-bat. So Marks mixing things up here.
Now the payoff pitch to Mitch McClendon is outside, and the leadoff walk for the Runnin' Bulldogs.
Yeah, changeup just got away. Good eye up at the plate to get on base. You can put pressure on Marks here.
Gardner-Webb won that matchup the first game these teams met back on April 9th. Then USC Upstate came back to dominate the series. But, Jay, as we've seen in this Big South tournament, it's all about having success in one game, in one moment, and that's exactly what Presbyterian did earlier today.
Yeah, and take one pitch at a time, one game at a time. That's really true, because what you did in the past now to get to this point doesn't really matter other than momentum to get here. You want to feel good and playing with confidence here in the Big South tournament, but you're right, it's a clean slate.
All USC Upstate has done is after a 3-game series sweep against Campbell, they had a chance to win the league. They came back and dominated UNC Asheville this past weekend. As Jordan Marks misses up on the zones, he falls behind to Eric Jones. Jones, who had an RBI base hit when these two met against Marks and forced him out of the game after 4 1/3 innings, his shortest start of the year. He gets the ball against Eric Jones here in the first and pounds into strike. Eric Jones, a prolific hitter by Big South standards, 6th in batting average. He's top 10 in slugging, and he's also top 10 in batting average, and also in on-base percentage. So really finds a way to get on. This time he pokes one foul, and that ball rolls out of play. Gardner-Webb was picked 6th in the Big South preseason poll. USC Upstate was the 2nd-ranked team behind Campbell entering this year. And the renaissance for Gardner-Webb and Coach Jim Chester, he said it really based on a belief in his program, a belief in his team, and that's played itself out this year with 27 conference wins. As this ball's drilled out to right, here's Julian Rep. He can't get there, and a base hit puts runners at first and second for Gardner-Webb.
We talked in the open about manufacturing runs. Right now, Gardner-Webb manufacturing runners to get on base. You have the walk here, and then a loopy little fly ball. Whatever it takes, though, just enough power on that ball to get it out to right field. And now early on here, trouble brewing for Upstate.
And Eric Jones is a .350 hitter, so he's very good at the plate. And this sets the stage for the big boppers in the lineup. This is Patrick Ferguson, who, my gosh, can really drive the baseball. The Kent State transfer has 13 home runs on the year. That's 4th best in the conference. And you would have guessed it, Jay, 9 of the top home run hitters in the Big South are all playing in this tournament. So power leads to success.
It does. I mean, when you have the ability to change the course of a game with one swing, that's why you get to this point. And a lot of great hitters here that have made it to Fayetteville.
Patrick Ferguson gained 20 pounds this offseason of what Coach Chester called good weight, because you and I probably gained some weight with COVID weight, but in the weight room, Ferguson's bulked up, and now he has 45 runs batted in. He lays off the first pitch. It's called inside by Joe Blumenbauer behind the plate. Gardner-Webb, when they score first, it's not very often, but when they do, a tough team to beat, Jay, 15-4 on the year. On the flip side, USC Upstate brings the ace of the conference in Jordan Marks, who lost just 1 game all season, an ERA 2.01. He's in some trouble now in the first as he falls behind 2-0.
Gardner-Webb gets out to a lead. They like playing from that position because they've got faith in their bullpen that they can close things out, and they've been so good, especially early on in ball games, trying to put pressure on their opponent.
Here come the running Bulldogs after a series loss against Upstate. They want revenge tonight. And Ferguson takes ball 3. That's a very close pitch.
Yeah, and Mark's trying to hit that inside part of the plate just a little bit low. That was a good frame by Maynard to try to get the call.
Now Ferguson's seeing dead red, and you wonder here, for a home run hitter with 13 big flies, will he be aggressive against Jordan Marks, who does not concede many easy hits? Big pitch looming for the junior out of Ontario. And he misses high, so Gardner-Webb has loaded the bases with nobody out. Just like we expected with the ace of the Big South Conference.
Exactly. This is what we would have thought. But for Gardner-Webb, you see the patience at the plate. Here early on, swinging at strikes, laying off the balls.
Here's a quick meeting for USC Upstate. They try to figure this out from a pitching side of things, and Kane Sweeney has been so crucial from the pitching side. A second-year coach who joined Mike McGuire from Morehead State they built that program into a regional contender, and now he's built this pitching staff into the best ERA in the conference, Jay, because they sit with a 3.54. That's a whole run better than the next best team in the league.
Yeah, and that's a testament to his work. What a huge addition that was with him coming in. And this meeting on the mound is just to try to calm the nerves of Marks here. Yeah, he's been in tough situations in the past. He's got a lot of experience, but he's just got to settle down here and find the strike zone.
So the meeting adjourned for Adam Brown, and now things really pick up as Gardner-Webb has loaded the bases. The pressure is on, and an all-conference hitter in KG Parkhurst checks in. One of 7 members of the all-conference team for Gardner-Webb. And he goes after the first pitch. This is high and deep into the right field corner. Julian Ripp is as athletic as anybody, but not even Spider-Man can catch that ball in the patio. He is the best outfielder defensively in runs scored in this league. And if he would have caught that ball, we might have just left the whole park and called it a good night.
Yeah, game over if he would have caught that one. Very athletic, meaning right field.
Instead, the bases remain loaded, and KG Parkhurst, who could hit as far as anybody with 14 home runs, awaits. Now he rips one foul.
Parkhurst, you see a little toe tap approach at the plate, really loading that back foot, all the weight on there. That's why he has so much power, because he really generates that explosion. His lower body.
Jordan Marks has thrown a quality start in all but one game this year. That was his 3rd start of the year against Radford. Since then, he's won 10 of his last 11 starts. What a jam he's faced in this first inning against KG Parkhurst. Now the 0-2. Got him swinging, and a huge first out for USC Upstate.
We talk about that bulldog mentality there. Tough situation, going with the off-speed pitch to get the first out of the game. Let's see, the bottom just drop out here. That ball started off at the knees, and then the plane of the ball, you can see it just shoot down out of the zone.
That's a smart play by Maynard as well to touch the plate to guarantee the strikeout. 101 punch-outs for Jordan Marks, part of an Upstate pitching staff that ranks in the top 30 in the country in strikeout to walk ratio. So impressive. And now Joe Simone, the right fielder, digs in. He takes a slider for strike 1. Joe Simone, 7 doubles, 4 triples. That leads the Big South in the 3-baggers. It's one thing Gardner-Webb does very well is put the ball into the gaps, let that speed go to work. Boy, would they love to do it here with the bases loaded in the first inning. Jordan Marks back to his heater, and that misses inside. A starting pitcher who is just coming off an 8 strikeout performance in a win over UNC Asheville. He has now thrown 6 innings or more in his last 7 outings, and his team has won 6 of those games. So much of the success for Upstate revolves around this ace. Now on 1-1, he comes back to the heat. He's quickly ahead on Joe Simone.
And that's the key point. Not only do you get the talent with Marks, but he eats up innings. He rests your bullpen, and he gets you deep into ball game, and that's such a huge factor, especially this season when you're playing, you know, these series where you really have to have depth. If you have a starting pitcher that can go deep, it's going to help out your bullpen so much.
Joe Simone is coming off a fantastic series against UNC Asheville. 7 hits. That was a season best 2 weeks ago. Now he sits in a critical spot with the bases loaded as Jordan Marks now on 20 pitches facing a tight jam. His changeup stays outside and the count is even. Gardner-Webb would love to exact revenge after a series loss against USC Upstate. And all they did since that series loss back on April 9th and the 10th is they came back to defeat Winthrop, Charleston Southern, Presbyterian, Asheville, and Radford. 5 straight series wins to get to this point in the tournament. Jordan Marks on 2-2. Gives up a line drive to right. Julian Ripp makes the catch. The runner from third tagged late in McClendon, and he is tagged out. What a throw by Julian Ripp, and USC Upstate escapes the jam. When we come back, can the Spartans take advantage How about this throw by Rip and an even better tag by Damon Maynard? We'll have more after this from the Big South Championship. South is brought to you by Hercules Tires, right on our strength. Visit HerculesTires.com. And by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com today. Also brought to you by Sunbelt Rentals. We have equipment for that. And by Jersey Mike's, a sub above. No substitutes needed for today's starting pitcher. Mason Miller, the ace of the Gardner-Webb staff, voted first team all-conference. He earned 3 first-place votes. Jordan Marks earned the other 7. So what does Miller do on the mound? He's 7-1 with a 3.4 ERA. And talk about a story. He's from Mercyhurst College, his first year run for the Runnin' Bulldogs, and he's been fantastic.
Yeah, and how about the opportunity tonight? You've got 2 of these guys here battling the challenge for both of them to outduel another. When you look at Miller, just his control's outstanding. 109 strikeouts, only 29 walks on the season.
So Miller gets the baseball, trying to continue a fantastic trend. Jay, in his last 5 outings, he's thrown at least 6 innings and has 10 or more strikeouts. He's the strikeout leader in the Big South. As Jack Hennessy watches a bullet in for strike 1. And when I say bullet, I mean 95 and on the black. To Jack Hennessy, the all-conference selection, the center fielder for Upstate. Folks, watch this. Just a beauty with the heat. He can touch 100 at times with that fastball.
And that's what sets him apart. You've got the velocity, but it's the ability to paint the corners, to hit the glove. And that's why it's so tough for these batters really to get a beat on him, because he's got that next level velocity.
Swung on and missed as Mason Miller adds to his Big South leading strikeout total. That's 110 Ks.
He's just got a knack for it. Closing it out here, see him going to the outside part of the plate.
So this is what ended the top of the first, Jay. How about the tag here by Maynard at the plate?
Julian Rip with the rifle from the outfield. And Maynard, as he came up the line, he had the awareness to know as soon as he caught that ball, he was going to have to turn it quickly to make the tag.
Julian Rip joined the all-conference team as well as he goes after the first pitch and fouls it off. These 2 teams, each with 7 on the all-conference team. Those are program records for both Gardner-Webb and USC Upstate. Taking on Mason Miller, who's about as dominant as any pitcher in the league, maybe outside of Jordan Marks, as these 2 battled out tonight. And the 0-1 is fouled off. Part of what's impressed scouts about Mason Miller is the fact that he gained 5 miles an hour on his fastball this offseason with new conditioning workouts, a new mentality in the offseason, and boy, does it come out clean out of his arm.
And that's what's so special for him and these other guys that make those huge leaps is if you're a scout, you want to see guys that get better because you want guys that continue to reach their potential, but also who's going to work hard. In order to reach your potential, you've got to work hard so you can see the development and the time that Miller put in this offseason.
That's a filthy breaking ball and no swing on the attempt, says our first base umpire, so the at-bat continues. Julian Rip is no slouch at the plate, named to the all-conference team as well, and certainly for USC Upstate, they have a tremendous top 5 in the lineup, all above 330, as Rip sends one into the sky here on a beautiful night in Fayetteville. Coming on is Mitch McClendon, the center fielder, to record the second out. We mentioned runs being at a premium. What a missed opportunity for Gardner-Webb in the first.
You're right. And when they look back on this ball game, they're going to say, gosh, that could have been our opportunity. We'll see how things unfold. But when you've got runners in scoring position, you've got to find a way to get those guys across home plate, because you don't know when Marks is going to have another inning where he's going to have trouble, because we've seen him throughout the season. He gets out of trouble when he rarely gets into it.
There's a beautiful strike to Devin Buckner, the DH for USC Upstate. Just one offensive starter on the first team for Upstate, but 4 on the second team, including Buckner, the DH tonight, who slaps one out of play. It's quickly 0-2. All 5 in the order: Hennessy, Rip, Buckner, Raybon, and Matthews on the all-conference team. First, second, or honorable mention. Taking on the strikeout leader in the Big South Conference in Mason Miller, who has had no trouble through the first 2 hitters. On 0-2, he dials up a fastball way up and in. Mason Miller now ranks 13th in the country in strikeouts. He is only 20 punch-outs away from Kumar Rocker of Vanderbilt, who may be the best pitcher in the nation. Yeah. He certainly has all the tools here. As a first-year Gardner-Webb arm from Mercyhurst College, a D3 transfer. And on 1-2, oh, you got to call that strike 3. Finish my story off, Joe Blumenbauer. But what a pitch there by Miller.
It was, and that's his pitch there, where he throws that hard fastball and then he mixes in the slider, and you almost got your strikeout there.
Now on 2-2, he says, screw the slider, I'll go to the heat, and that's fouled off. I love these nets that are so firm, they literally kick the ball back to these pitchers. It actually happened in the Campbell Presbyterian game earlier today that saved a run for Campbell defensively.
Yeah, and it kind of ricocheted there right back out on the field.
Alongside Jay Sunhalter, Evan Budrovich here from Segra Stadium in Fayetteville. This is Game 2 of the Big South Championships presented by Ingles, if you didn't know. As Miller dials in between the Ingles logos on 2-2. And he hits Buckner, who might have leaned into the pitch, but he gets the benefit of the call from Joe Blumenbauer, and a 2-out runner reaches. What do you think, Jay? Anything here from?
I think there, he just turned it. He didn't go out on the plate or lean into it. He just turned his shoulder. That's a good call.
Strategic placement is what you're saying.
Strategic placement, but as long as you don't lean out there and make it obvious, you're going to be safe going over to first base and taking your bag.
There is an initiative in NCAA baseball to punish hitters for leaning into pitches. They're rewarded an automatic strike in that situation if an umpire deems that being a lean in. So that's why I present that question. Of course, in this league, you have the Campbell Camels that lead the conference and the country in hit by pitches. These are no 2 slouches either, with Upstate and Gardner-Webb both with 27 or more conference wins, each setting program records in the Big South. And Jay, check out that front elbow shield here of Devin Buckner.
I mean, I think he turned there. I think he's innocent on that, Evan. I'll give it to him. But there was, in question.
And I bring it up because that's a challengeable play that you can have an umpire review if they so choose.
I just don't know that there was enough evidence to go and review that. I think that's a good call.
Instead, Mason Miller gives up a 2-out base runner. Here's Noah Raybon. And on 1-1, he grounds one out to second. This is Eric Jones. He fields the hop perfectly and makes the play. Through 1 inning, a couple of different ways to do it, but we are scoreless. Gardner-Webb to the plate when we return.
After battling through a spring season fraught with upsets, injuries, triumphs, and tragedies, we have arrived. Every crack of the bat, every diving grab, every blistering fastball has led to this moment. Now is the time to discover who will take their game to the next level and emerge victorious. Now is the time to bring the title home. The Ingles Big South Baseball Championship.
Juicy Wild Cherry.
Tired of cooking at home? Change it up without getting up. Just order Jersey Mike's through our app for no-contact delivery or no-contact at-the-door pickup. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Picture perfect night in Fayetteville, North Carolina. This is game 2 of the Big South Championships presented by Ingalls. And certainly Jay Sunhalter, Gardner Webb would love to put a magic whiteboard eraser on that first inning. Had the bases loaded, nobody out. Could not score a run as Dom Perrone in the bottom 4th in the order, 6, 7, 8 here, battled Jordan Marks to begin the second. Especially in a game where runs are at a premium. The 2 aces of the conference. And Jordan Marks needed 24 pitches to get through the first, misses inside. Dom Perrone watches a bouncing fastball, and all of a sudden it's 2-0 to the senior from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. I love the public address and the music trying to amp up this crowd here in game 2. A little bit less of a environment than what we saw in game 1 with Presbyterian upsetting Campbell in the first matchup, as there's a strike. Although those kids in the hats behind home plate may have had the best seats in the house.
They do.
With no bricklayering between home plate. That's a clean view of Jordan Marks and Mason Miller. Those are 2 pitchers you got to watch all night. As Perrone fouls one off his foot. That is a foul ball.
Not only do they have a great view, but they're going to be on TV every single pitch. You see them back there kind of calling balls and strikes as well, so they're into the ball game.
Although it looks like a couple of the kids are checking out whatever's on that phone.
Yeah, they're.
Now, I would watch Jordan Marks personally, who's 10-1 with 101 strikeouts on the year. But it does take some time to acclimate to the ballpark, if you will. Look at all the radar guns checking out Marks as his fastball's fouled off.
When you see the scouts starting to show up, you know there are prospects. And both these pitchers, they're going to have a lot of potential at the next level. And early on, you can see why there's so much interest.
Oh, now I feel bad. Maybe the kids have to go home after they just got called out on ESPN. Or maybe they'll find a better spot. Jordan Marks on 2-2 to Dom Perrone. Gives up a line drive. That's a base hit right in front of Julian Ripp. And the Running Bulldogs with their second hit of the day.
It's a great piece of hitting the ball on the outside part of the plate, just taking it and slapping it over to right field. Not doing too much with it. We'll see here. Perrone is flipping the bat head out. And solid contact to drive it.
Here's J.P. McGuire, the junior from Norcross, Georgia, who led the team hitting .367 in Big South Conference play. All he's done is notch hits in 10 of his last 11 games at the plate. And Jordan Marks starts him with a fastball that sneaks past Matthews into center field. Back-to-back singles for Gardner Webb.
This offensive attack, they're swinging at these fastballs and getting solid contact. This ball here, lower part of the zone, he just kind of golfs it out there and drives it up the middle.
It's a hit parade against Jordan Marks here in these first 2 innings. And now Joe Brazil, the junior from Potter Valley, California, makes his way in. The lone California native on this Gardner Webb roster. Jordan Marks escaped a bases-loaded jam on the first. He has a similar spot here in the second. And the first pitch to Brazil is tattooed out to center. Back goes Hennessy towards the warning track. He looks up, and it's off the wall. Gardner Webb strikes for a run, is coming around third to score. Dom Perrone and the Running Bulldogs take the 1-0 lead on the RBI double by Brazil.
Gardner Webb looking very confident up at the plate. And another batter Another ball drilled, and this ball almost cleared the fence. Look at that swing right there, balance and power, and this ball continued to drift and just ricocheted off the wall.
Third double of the year for Joe Brazil. That's not very common in his arsenal, but he certainly takes advantage with the extra base hit. And now second and third for Ben Laspaluto, the Gardner-Webb catcher, the most experienced player on this roster. He's been to 4 Big South tournaments, and he goes after the first pitch. In fact, Laspaluto, the senior from Apex, has now played in 144 career games. He needs just 15 more contests, which he can do next year as a COVID senior, to move into the top 10 in Gardner-Webb history. Here's the 0-1. And that hits Laspaluto. So runners are at first and third as Marks has had a tough time getting it out in this inning.
He just hasn't gotten into his groove that we've seen all season long. And here this ball is kind of carrying to the inside part of the plate. He's got to find a way, we saw in that first inning, get out of the jam. He's given up 1 run, but he's just got to find his command of the strike zone. Make sure he really focuses on that fastball, getting control of that pitch first.
That's very rare for Jordan Marks, just the 5th batter he's hit in 96 innings. He's thrown 96 innings in a college baseball season. That's incredible. As here he is 10-1 on the year. Now he faces the top of the lineup, and Mitch McClendon watches this breaking ball sneak away. So all of a sudden, Jordan Marks has faced another bases-loaded jam. This time, Gardner-Webb must find a way to score.
Yeah, and when you've got opportunities, you can't let the second one pass. In the first inning, they didn't take advantage of it, but now you got another situation here where you can really take control of this ball game, get in the driver's seat, but you've got to execute.
Mitch McClendon in these spots with runners on the bases. He hits over 300, so certainly an opportunity with the bases juiced. Here's the 1-0. That's a good fastball from Jordan Marks, who, Jay, regardless how this inning unfolds, is now at 35 pitches. Yep. That's a win for Gardner-Webb.
It's a huge victory so far here because Gardner-Webb's staying patient at the plate, but they're putting that stress on Marks, and the goal for them is get Marks out of the ballgame as quick as you can.
Mitch McClendon 0 for 6 with the bases loaded. That changes right here with a base hit. Attacks the 1-1 fastball in the center. 2 runs scored, and it's a 3-0 lead for the running Bulldogs in the second.
We just talked about execution coming up with the big hit, and here it is for Gardner-Webb. Coming through those runners in scoring positions, another solid at-bat, powering that ball up the middle.
What an at-bat by Mitch McClendon, who now has a 6-game hit streak. And all of a sudden, here comes Adam Brown, the recruiting coordinator and the pitching coach, out for a quick chat as arms sprint to the bullpen for USC Upstate.
Yeah, that was a dead sprint to get out there and start warming up. And here trying to stall a little bit, also get the team together and give them the message. But
how about the message from Jim Chester, the coach of the year in the conference? His offense has come to play.
Well, he's got to be pleased. I mean, continuing to string solid at-bats. His guys have been attacking at the plate, and they've been very aggressive.
Gardner-Webb enters this Big South tournament. Their highest seed in over a decade is the number 3 seed in the Big South. They look to elevate their Big South profile as a program. This team has never won a Big South title, and here they are in a 4-team tournament. They forced the ace of Upstate into some trouble. This is an ideal start for Gardner-Webb.
It is, and this is a spot the Spartans haven't been in very much this season. Their back's against the wall here early on with the threat of this game kind of getting blown open. They've got to make sure they focus here and kind of calm this situation down to try to get out of the inning.
In fact, Gardner-Webb has reached just one conference final. That was in 2011. I was going to say hasn't happened in the last 10 years. As here comes Eric Jones, who singled back in the first. That's when Gardner-Webb loaded the bases again. Here they sit in a 3-0 ball game. Still pressure on against Jordan Marks. You have to appreciate the aggressiveness, like your Keys and Ingles coming into this game, and Gardner-Webb's done it at the plate.
They have. They've executed it to perfection, and Gardner-Webb, early on in this ballgame, still plenty of time to go, but you've got Miller on the mound on a solid first inning. If you can get some more runs across, you're going to put a lot of pressure on Upstate.
Here's pitch 40 from Jordan Marks, and it's flied out just past the infield. Here's Jason Matthews, the shortstop, calling for it. The pride of New Zealand makes the catch. Matthews, by the way, a former fast-pitch softball player. Baseball was his second sport, and he's still learning the game, but he's quite a player out there for USC Upstate.
He can do it all in any sport. He's been a really, really outstanding player.
And the coaching staff, Mike McGuire, jokes with us that Matthews is still learning baseball lingo.
Yeah.
Even the term turning a double play was slightly new to him when he first came to the States to play here at USC Upstate.
But you got to love the fact that he wants to learn, and with this newness to this game, think about the potential he's having. You can kind of mold him and teach him how to play the right way.
Big swing and a miss from Patrick Ferguson, who wants to make this a 6-0 game in a hurry. Ferguson has plenty of power in this lineup, 13 home runs, which ranks top 25 in the country in big flies. Everyone's chasing Florida State's power hitter. Here's the 0-1. That's a ground ball that sneaks through for a base hit. Gardner-Webb wants to add more as here comes the runner towards third, and a perfect throw by Julian Rip guns down the would-be runner in McClendon.
We've seen Rip already make a huge impact. Couple throws to throw the runners out, and a strike over there.
That RBI base hit makes it 4-0. But credit Rip for the defensive play to settle this inning down.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great out in right field and helped out Mark so much.
Gardner-Webb is exploding at the plate, and from one power hitter to another, this is KG Parkhurst, who tries to track down Matthew Nelson of Florida State for the nation's lead in home runs. Parkhurst has 14, Nelson has 22, and Langford, who leads the Big South Conference, finished with 17 home runs. He was named All-Conference this year as a power hitter. What's interesting with these power hitters this season in the Big South, Parkhurst only hitting 220, but Langford hit 340 along with 17 home runs.
Yeah, so they've got the power, but they have the discipline and the ability to put the ball in play.
Here's a line drive into right field. This ball is some trouble into the gap. Julian Rip looks up, and that ball is out of here. Gardner-Webb strikes for a 7 spot on the scoreboard, and the running Bulldogs are pulling ahead with a 2-run shot off the bat of KG Parkhurst.
And Evan, this is opposite field power. You see the celebration, the emotion coming out of the dugout for the Bulldogs, but he drilled that. And look at this swing here, balanced approach. That ball in the outside corner, and he knew it was gone.
No chance for Julian Rip on that one, and Gardner-Webb with a 6-0 lead in the second. This is the end of the night for the Big South Pitcher of the Year in Jordan Marks, who had allowed 21 runs all year. He gives up a quick outing here, just an inning and 2/3.
Yeah, and for Marks, it's a rare occurrence that he gives up these runs here today, but thrown 44 pitches. Potentially the Spartans make it to Saturday. Maybe he could come back Saturday, but he just didn't have the command tonight. And you see Gardner-Webb over there getting motivated over in the dugout. They're fired up.
Jim Chester's club was the underlooked team of these top 3 seeds. They have swung the bats early in these first 2 innings, a 6-0 lead. And now, all of a sudden, this tournament that's gone topsy-turvy with Presbyterian upsetting Campbell, there's a chance in this tournament it could be number 1 versus number 2 in elimination fashion.
Look at this celebration. Boom! It's a great shot there by our crew. And that's always the best. When you make a play, then you get to go celebrate with your teammates.
The props are in full display here in tournament time as USC Upstate goes to its bullpen very early in this game. And Sean Hupp, the senior righty from Orlando, Florida, checks into this game. And wow, how have things changed here? An inning and 2/3 for Jordan Marks. And Jay, you do wonder now with Marks at 45 pitches, is he in play for possibly championship Saturday.
Well, I think he is. I mean, I think if USC Upstate can find a way to get to Saturday, you're going to have an opportunity to bring him back. So, obviously you didn't want this situation to arise, but you're going to have an opportunity to probably bring him back.
What a start for the Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs here in the second inning. And Pepsi presents what fans like, because Pepsi knows what fans like, and ringing the home run bong is about as important as anything for any team. Be sure to pick up an ice cold, refreshing Pepsi today. I know what Gardner-Webb likes. They like the home runs, and KG Parkhurst with his 15th big fly of the year has just changed this game.
It is, and we talked about the execution, manufacturing runs in the open, right, Evan? Right now, Gardner-Webb's had the first punch. Will the Spartans come back and fight back? How's this game's going to unfold, after you face adversity? But Gardner-Webb has all the momentum and confidence right now.
So Sean Hupp enters out of the bullpen for USC Upstate, and things get really interesting here for a Spartan staff that led the conference in ERA. Sean Hupp, the senior from Orlando, second year with the Spartans, 40 innings of work. He'll need a few tonight, as here's a ground ball off the bat of Joe Simone. One pitch and one out to end the top of the second. Not before the running Bulldogs strike for 6 runs in the inning, none bigger than the home run by KG Parkhurst. We'll have more after this. Mixed reaction from the fans here at the Ingles Big South Championship. A lot of those fans in green starting to check the brackets because they know what be coming up tomorrow morning. How about this? The Ingles and the Big South, thank you for watching this year's championship. The loser of this game tonight, Gardner-Webb and USC Upstate, has to play the champions of the regular season, Campbell, at 11 a.m. The winner of this game moves on to face Presbyterian tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
And that quick turnaround, I mean, that's a real thing, because when you get done tonight, you've essentially got to go to your hotel room, go to bed, and you're coming back out to play early. So this is an important ball game, and Gardner-Webb has really shot out here to a huge lead.
There's Jason Matthews, the all-conference shortstop, fighting that pitch off. He is the best defensive player in this conference, and I mean that by best fielding percentage, makes the most plays. Now can he get something going at the plate against Mason Miller, who's just been spotted a heck of a six-pack. Out of the fastball, that's called a strike. It's quickly 0-2. Jason Matthews during the regular season, a .350 hitter with a team best 19 doubles. That was second in the Big South Conference. When these teams met in the regular season, Miller had no trouble retiring Matthews. He went 0 for 3 with a strikeout, although Matthews in the series went 7 for 14, so he got the last laugh against Gardner-Webb. That was back on April 23rd. Miller's next pitch just a bit off the edge, and the count is even. Jason Matthews, one of 7 on the all-conference team for Upstate, one of 3 on the first team. And the 2-2 pitch is rolled on the chopper to second. Busy day for Eric Jones, who makes the play. All of a sudden, you start counting outs if you're USC Upstate. 6 runs is a big tally, but this offense can score. They average 7 a game.
Yeah, and they're a group that They've had really good games where they've scored a lot of runs in bunches. The challenge is going to be here. You're going against one of the top pitchers in the league. So you're going to have to climb this hill going against Miller, who's shown here early on he's got that plus fastball working. He's mixing in that slider as well.
Mason Miller in his last 5 starts has at least 10 strikeouts. He's the strikeout leader in the Big South. And on 1-0, he gives up a base hit up the middle. That's a good swing by Easton Cullison, the second baseman who makes just his 10th start of the year. Or sorry, his 10th game of the year, his second start, and he fills that void quite well.
Yeah, nice hit there. And for the Spartans, you just got to chip away at this deficit. Again, you can't get it all back in one at-bat. You just got to continue, try to get solid at-bats going and try to eat into this lead and get yourself in position later in this game.
So one gone by for Jack Gallagher. He's been a steady piece. 47th start for the junior out of Loveland, Ohio, as that pitch misses up. USD Upstate has benefited by the virtue of a consistent outfield across the diamond. They've also had help from Gallagher at first base, who has started all but 3 games. He has 40 runs batted in here in the bottom of the lineup. And Gallagher tips one into the mid of McGuire. Jack Gallagher had a few votes for honorable all mention, but he did not crack the team this year. Did have his compatriots Rip and Hennessy, along with Matthews, join the squad as he drills one out to center. McClendon makes the running catch. That's a hard hit ball off the bat of Jack Gallagher.
And that ball is right over the middle part of the plate. Miller missed his spot. That's where you got to just trust your defense. McClendon tracked that ball perfectly to make the catch.
I tell you, you're a lot more trusting than I am, Jason Halter, because that ball was tattooed out to McClendon.
Well, you've got, when that ball gets hit like that, you've got to trust that your outfield can make the play because of their range. Now, obviously, you want to hit your spot, and that was a mistake right down the middle. That's where your defense can bail you out.
2 outs for Chase Matheny, the left fielder who takes a strike, sophomore from Bremerton, Washington. This is not a hill too steep to climb for USC Upstate. They average 7 runs per game, and they'll need all 7 of them here in this second inning after Gardner-Webb strikes for 6 in the top half. The 0-1. See the amped-up fastball there from Miller with at least 5 or 6 scouts right behind home plate. This is something Miller has faced all year as a former D3 player at Mercuryhurst, transferred up to Gardner-Webb with his former head coach Jim Chester, coached in the same league that Mercuryhurst was in, so it opened up eyes to this talent, and he's paid off big time for Gardner-Webb. It was a neat story to learn about from Coach Chester this week.
And the connections to bring him into Gardner-Webb really played a big part of that, and he's used his platform to really give himself an opportunity here in the future with professional baseball. But here coming in as a new player, instantly kind of got the trust from his teammates.
And the best part, Jim Chester tells us, Mason Miller is one of the few players on this team who can marry his daughter. He has that much faith in his pitcher as a person as well, not just with all the strikeouts.
Well, and you see the talent out in the field, but you don't know about the person, the student off the field. And when you have a coach tell you and say that type of compliment, I mean, that's about as good as it gets.
Especially if Miller goes in the first round, which he's projected to do, a first top 5 pick. Top 5 rounds, I should say. Here he is on 2-2. That's a slider, and Mason Miller is the darling of the Big South tonight. 2 quality innings against USC Upstate. His Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs lead by 6. Can they add on when we return? Hercules Tires is the official tire of the Big South Conference, providing tires with unbeatable quality at an unmatched price for over 65 years. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, Hercules Tires invites you to ride on our strength. For a retailer near you, visit HerculesTires.com. You know, the Goodyear headquarters in the East Coast are based here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, by the way. But we always appreciate Hercules Tires, just bringing the vehicle connection tonight. And USC Upstate has to hitch on the back of a new vehicle. They lost their Ferrari, and now they have a couple of Chevy Camaros rolling into the tank out of the bullpen. The best ERA of the Big South for USC Upstate, and Sean Hupp is a part of that as he pounds in a strike. He got one out on one pitch his last time out.
Well, they're going to need them to perform like Ferraris here if they want to come back in this ballgame. Still plenty of time, but once you get into that bullpen, that's the goal for the opponents, is to get to the bullpen.
Sean Hupp gives up a line drive to left. This is Matheny tracking it down to the gap. And how about 3 pitches and 2 outs for Sean Hupp? We'll call him the Hummer of the bullpen. Leads the team in appearances, and now he sits on 40 innings of work.
And Hupp's look good. He's got that experience. The senior leaders in this pitching staff. This is a veteran group. So, this is a team. They've been through battles before. These guys, want to come out here and have a good performance, even though that hasn't got off to the start they wanted.
Hupp bullets in a fastball for strike one. Gardner-Webb's offense has really taken advantage. This is J.P. McGuire. And certainly a chance here to extend this inning and extend the score as well. As this ground ball scooped up in the hole by Raybon, the all-conference infielder makes the throw in time. Because if you're Gardner-Webb in this spot, 6 runs is a lot, certainly. But the more pressure you put on USC Upstate, the better it would be.
Well, you got to be greedy. If you're a Bulldogs, this isn't enough. You want to continue to apply the pressure and have that mindset.
So instead, 2 outs in the inning, and Joe Brazil, who hit a huge double in the second. That went off the wall, 400 to the base of the wall here at Segra Stadium in Fayetteville. He also has one of those composite bats that looks sort of like wood, but he certainly hit it well. Didn't matter what the bat comes off, as there's a healthy swing and a miss.
Didn't keep his head down there, but that's where you see the power, just the torque.
Those are the type of swings that Jim Chester loves from his offense. He's a home run hitting approach coach. 63 home runs on the year. And he wants every hitter in his lineup to swing for the fences. That's robbed by Cullison. His throw to first makes the play. Only the 3rd start of the year for Cullison at second, and he robs a base hit to end the inning. We go to the bottom half. One of the new faces defensively makes a name for himself for USC Upstate.
After battling through a spring season fraught with upsets, injuries, triumphs, and tragedies, we have arrived. Every crack of the bat, every diving grab, every blistering fastball has led to this moment. Now is the time to discover who will take their game to the next level and emerge victorious. Now is the time to bring the title home. The Ingalls Big South Baseball Championship.
Pepsi Wild Cherry.
Tired of cooking at home? Change it up without getting up. Just order Jersey Mike's through our app for no-contact delivery or no-contact at-the-door pickup. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Gardner-Webb exploding in the second inning with 6 runs. And now Mason Miller heads back to the hill with this lead How can Miller continue his quality start through 2 innings of play?
Just continue to throw the fastball. That's his best pitch. That's the dominant pitch that's gotten him so much attention. Throw strikes. You get this huge lead to work with, but he hasn't shown any signs of faltering. All his stuff is working, and he's really had control of his pitch placement.
Here comes Miller, the strikeout leader in the Big South. Blows it by Damon Maynard, the catcher. By the way, how about that play by Easton Cullison, who gets just his 3rd start of the year at second base? And all of a sudden, he's made a name for himself over there. Adam Grobe, typically a middle infielder who'll be part of the equation. We've seen a few others at that position as well, and a big decision to give Cullison the start. He was not part of the equation entering this tournament, and now he makes a big play for himself.
Yeah, making an impact out there, and you can gain that momentum, take it from the defensive side, go into the dugout here. So that was a huge play to get off the field.
Cameron McIntosh, also part of that defensive arrangement at second. He started 47 games, but not part of the lineup tonight. We did ask about whether he'd be available. Did not hear an answer. We'll certainly keep an eye on that as the game continues. Damon Maynard watches a fastball miss outside. Also of note, Cam Piercy for Gardner-Webb, the all-conference center fielder, is not in the lineup tonight. We asked if any injuries of concern. Nothing was brought up. No issues either way. Just something to note is you don't see Piercy out there at center field. Miller on 1 and 2. How about that? Oh, come on. That's belt high. Belt high with a slider. Joe Blumenbauer staying to his zone tonight.
Yeah, you can see Miller kind of stare an extra second or two. He wanted that call.
He saw my eyes, and he stared right back at the umpire.
You two are both upset.
Maynard hangs around on 2 and 2. And he goes down on the fastball 1 pitch later, so the stare down pays off.
Yeah, and he got that call. Now, Miller here, with his stuff, you've got that electric fastball, great slider, but it's his deception with his arm angle. He's got that 3/4 delivery, quick arm action, but he throws across his body a little bit. So if you're a right-handed batter, it looks like he's almost coming at you, and then he's got that torque in the whip to throw it across his body. It's really tough to pick up, especially from the right side.
There's a reason Miller leads this conference in strikeouts, and he's top 10 in the country in that department. As this pitch misses low to Jack Hennessy, the leadoff man for USC Upstate. Mason Miller against right-handed hitters. The batting average against is .210. Might rise a bit here as this is robbed by Las Paludo, who makes the throw off the turf for the second out. The Apex product is coming to play at shortstop.
Yeah, and here, close to home, this is a hard-hit ball, but look at the reaction. Quickly getting up after he gets that ball and digs it out. There's Miller in the zone.
That's the governor mentality. You just walk around, I am the governor.
Well, you've got to have that mentality. You've got to have that belief in yourself.
Gardner-Webb's defense really helping the cause in this inning as that pitch misses up. Not a typical strength of the running Bulldogs in terms of fielding percentage, but they are taking advantage in all different ways today. This pitch is fouled off the end of the bat of Julian Ripp.
Again, when you're a right-handed batter, it is so tough. Again, watch where that front foot of Miller lands. It looks like he's coming right at you, and then he just whips that arm around.
There's the slider. It is quickly ahead 1 and 2.
See that late movement there, starting out really on the inner part of the plate, and then the bottom just falls out. That pitch is sitting in the 70s, so a large variation in speed between those two pitches.
Miller sitting on 3 punch-outs tonight. He's 1 pitch away from a clean inning here against the Upstate Spartans, and time is called. By the way, of the 4 teams in this tournament, they're all in the top 6 in fielding percentage. Gardner-Webb just a touch behind Campbell for the conference's lead. They have played really good defense tonight. Typically they play on an all-turf field, but they've adjusted just fine here at Segra Stadium in Fayetteville. And that's what makes yesterday's practice days so vital for all 4 of these teams. Every coach we talked to loved the facilities here at Segra Stadium, and it's helped them get acclimated to this park. Julian Ripp, a little slow pitch softball style, trying to extend the at-bat as he fights it off. Must have watched the regionals this past weekend. Some big-time programs. How about Oklahoma and Patty Gasso? A dominant weekend. They beat Wichita State to win their regional, top team in the country. Of course, UCLA, number 2 team in softball. They're very good as well. And USC Upstate, their softball program made the conference final 2 weeks ago against Campbell before the Fighting Camels took the title. Mason Miller just over his mitt, and the 6'5" arm could not knock that ball down, so a 2-out single for Rip.
And that ball there over the middle. The glove was set up on the outside black, and that's a mistake. And Upstate taking advantage of that pitch, just driving it up through the middle.
So a 2-out base hit for USC Upstate, and here comes Devin Buckner, the DH. Buckner's been very productive on the year. 46 runs batted in. That sits 6th in the Big South. Unfortunately for Buckner, the top 5 RBI threats are all on Campbell's club. They've been dominant in that department, but Buckner's done his part. As here comes the Hayes Street train rolling in tonight. Look at that train rolling past Healy's Bar in right field. That slider misses up in the zone, rolling through downtown Fayetteville.
The train looked like it slowed down a little bit so it could watch the game. We get a couple pitches in.
Well, the conductor must have known the matchup of 2 starting pitchers.
Yeah, he must be a baseball fan.
2 of the top 100 in college baseball, according to D1Baseball.com. However, Jordan Marks was forced out of the game after an inning and 2/3, and Mason Miller's had no troubles. His back pick is a bit late over to first. USC Upstate is aggressive on the bases. 52 stolen bases this year. However, I imagine, Jay, that'll be a little less active tonight with a 6-0 deficit.
Yeah, and you think that would limit their opportunities and they'd play it more safe.
Miller on 2-1. Hitter's count here to Devin Buckner, who was hit by a pitch on a very questionable hit-by-pitch ruling his first time up. That's about the only thing slowing down Mason Miller, who tries to improve upon a 7-1 record. He's won his last 5 starts. And on 3-1, here's a high fly ball from Buckner. This sends Brazil back to the wall. He looks up, and that ball is gone. Don't count out USC Upstate just yet, as the 4th home run of the year by Buckner cuts this deficit to 4.
And there's some emotion from Buckner here as he rounds the plate. And that's what Upstate has to do, continuing to chip into this lead. Look at him trying to fire up his teammates. Watch this swing, compact. That power, that ball just continued to carry out of left center field.
That is the 6th home run surrendered by Mason Miller. 3 of them have come in his last 3 outings. And all of a sudden, the Spartans have found life offensively as Miller goes back to work with a strike. We wondered after Game 1, would the ballpark play more hitter-friendly tonight? It seems to be so early on. As this ground ball should end the inning, over to Eric Jones. As USC Upstate strikes for 2 on the 2-run shot from Devin Buckner. It's a 4-run game as we go to the 4th here on the Ingalls Big South Championship. Mountain Dew knows that fans deserve something to quench their thirst every day of the week, especially on game day. So no matter where you might be cheering on your team, it's always good time for a Dew. Got to do the Dew, Jay.
We got to.
We got to do is watch Sean Hupp go to work here at his second inning of relief, and no swing on the appeal there from Ben Laspaluto, the shortstop out of Apex, North Carolina. Grew up just 45 minutes up the road here from Fayetteville. And the senior's already made a great impact defensively. He was hit by a pitch and scored today. And now a deep shot in the hole for Jason Matthews, who rips a cannon to first, but not in time. The first baseman, Gallagher, pulled his foot.
Gallagher with the stretch over there, trying to hold on long enough. He did the best he could. In the range, though, by Matthews. See him here get this ball and rifle it over just a little bit too high. That ball started to sail.
That is officially ruled an infield single, and I like that decision by the statistician there.
Yeah, that's a good call because that's a tough play to make. And
now Matthews could make that play, as we clearly saw, but it would take an excellent effort to get it done. Now back to the top of the lineup is Mitch McClendon. Pokes this ball into smithereens, out of play. You see Gardner-Webb with their key-coded wristbands. We talked about the hieroglyphics earlier. Sort of reminds me of a bag of Rice Krispie treats. You never know what's going to come up with the different colors and combinations.
What a good snack that is.
Oh, especially when it's dipped in chocolate. You have me set for the night.
That's the recipe, huh?
Here's Sean Hupp pinpointing the corner for a strike. It is 0-2. The winner of this game is hungry for a trip to the Big South semifinals, where they'll take on the 4-seed Presbyterian. And, boy, has this bracket just opened wide up with a loss for Campbell. Now, that team could certainly make a run, no doubt about it. But this tournament has certainly turned the narrative here in day one. Hupp on 0-2, gives up a ground ball to third. That's a bobbled ball. And Raybon makes the play but throws it away. An error for Raybon puts two on with nobody out.
Again, back to Gallagher over there. That was a good save. That ball could have flown in the dugout and been real trouble. He got off the bag and was able to save it and at least just hold on to it so the runners couldn't advance. We'll see here. This ball chopped down the line. He just wasn't able to handle it. Raybon came up here. But again, there's the save by Gallagher.
USC Upstate enters this game with a .967 fielding percentage. That's exactly the same as Gardner-Webb. So these teams very similar in fielding the baseball. The difference has been the home run. And, boy, KG Parker's changed this game with a two-run shot in the second. Now Eric Jones takes a breaking ball high. And this is the third inning in the last four where Gardner-Webb's had a chance to really break this game open offensively.
Yeah, and here they are again knocking on the doorstep. You know, can you have that big inning here? And that's what their hope is. That's what their goal is.
There's the 1-0 from Hupp. That's up in the zone as well. And USC Upstate, who has the best bullpen ERA in the conference, they were tested early in this game as Jordan Marks just goes an inning in 2/3. It's even tougher when Marks had pitched over 90 innings, 95 innings on the year. They expect him to go deep into games every night. That pitch is called a strike.
Well, it was kind of a shock to see your ace go out of the ball game so quickly, but they had to regroup, and Hupp's done a nice job, I think, coming in here and at least settling things down. And there you saw him go back to his fastball, really finish it off. The last two pitches were breaking balls that kind of hung up in the zone there too high, but he's got to continue to follow through.
The 2-1 pitch is forked out of play, as Eric Jones putting up a good battle in this one. In the series for Gardner-Webb, Jones hit .400 against USC Upstate. However, it was the Spartans who came back to win 2 of 3. And now the spotlight is squared on Gardner-Webb, a chance to break this game open in the fourth after Upstate just scored 2 in the bottom of the third. The 2-2 is swung on and missed. Good strikeout for Sean Hupp.
There's that placement, outer part of the plate. The ball just running out of the zone. And you got the swing and the miss. You see here, he'd extend out and just couldn't get his bat head out in front.
Eric Jones had been an upstate demolisher at the plate. He had 6 hits and 2 doubles in 4 matchups. Although the lineup does not get much easier here. Patrick Ferguson, 13 home runs. He already has a base hit tonight. And he would love to drive one into the short porch here in right. Hupp must be careful, and he pinpoints a strike. USC Upstate allows the fewest home runs of any team in the conference, just 40 home runs allowed. High Point is also among that list of fewest home runs, yet that team finished near the dead last in the conference, 9th overall. The 0-1 misses low and outside. Gardner-Webb has put pressure on from the first pitch of this ball game. And now with Laspaluto at second, McClendon at first, even more chances for Patrick Ferguson. The 1-1 misses outside. Oddly enough, Jay, the team that allowed the fewest home runs all season in the Big South is Longwood, the team that finished dead last in the league. Now, that doesn't translate by any means, clearly, as we saw by their record. High Point and Campbell that were next behind them, those two teams, a lot better. We see Campbell first in the conference with a good pitching staff. It's interesting how home runs don't always tell the story, as the 2-1 misses high and away. Now, one area Gardner-Webb has struggled this year as a pitching staff is giving up the double. USC Upstate has allowed some of the fewest extra base hits of any team in this conference, and yet today it's Gardner-Webb with a home run and a double in the first 3 innings. And on 3-1, Ferguson fouls it off.
So yeah, Ferguson up at the plate. That's a healthy rip up there. He's swinging for the fences. That ball kind of running off the inner part of the plate. Just couldn't get around on it, but he's up there. He's sitting on a fastball.
The Runnin' Bulldogs and the Fighting Camels, the top 2 home run teams in the Big South. Ferguson's got plenty of pop as he awaits the payoff from Sean Hupp, who gives up a fastball. It's a dangerous spot. Ray Bond has no room on that one. Oh, here we go. A nice little kid's going to get that baseball, so that's awesome. And the at-bat continues on 3-2. Sean Hupp entered in the second for Jordan Marks and won his shortest outing of the year, inning and 2/3. And now Hupp back to another payoff pitch. That is high, and Gardner-Webb has loaded the bases with 1 out.
Gardner-Webb is continuing to have solid at-bats. In another situation here, bases loaded where they can really open things up.
This is the 3rd time in this game that Gardner-Webb has loaded the bases. And boy, this is not the hitter you want to face in KG Parkhurst, who just blasted one to right over the wall for a 2-run shot. What a moment for Sean Hupp on the hill. And he misses inside with a fastball as the bullpen is quiet for USC Upstate right now. It's a bit of a surprise here in a 6-2 ball game.
Yeah, that is, because you'd figure that they'd have arms starting to get loose up there just in case, because this is a pivotal point. You got the home run to come back, make it a 4-run deficit, but you've got to have support back there in case you need it.
Parkhurst wants to provide his own caboose at the plate as that misses outside as the Hay Street train comes rolling in. The sights and sounds are at Segra Stadium in Fayetteville, home of the Fayetteville Woodpeckers, the low-A affiliate of the Houston Astros. This is the 2nd year the Big South Tournament's been hosted at this ballpark. Campbell won the title in 2019. And now these two squads see a wide-open road to the championship on 2-0. This is high into the air. Long run for Gallagher, and he runs out of room. If you're just joining us tonight, Campbell, the top seed, fell to Presbyterian 7-2 in Game 1. So whoever loses this game tonight, which will most likely end very late, have to come back tomorrow, get to the park around 8:30, and play Campbell in elimination, who's been resting an 11 o'clock first pitch.
Well, it's not only overcome being tired, but the mentality of this ball game, whoever loses is going to have to kind of flip the page and start new early on tomorrow.
Nothing like a cup of coffee in the morning. As Parkhurst misses on that one, it's 2-2. KG Parkhurst is seeing dead red on that fastball. And when he met USC Upstate earlier this year, he went 1 for 12 at the plate with a double. Boy, did he change things with a home run in the second inning. Now with the bases loaded, he can really change things here in the fourth. There's Maynard with the sign. Hupp is ready on 2-2. His fastball is spoiled. Think about this inning, Jay. It started with a questionable hit-error decision off the bat of Los Paluto here at third, then a clearer from McClendon, and now with a strikeout and a walk, things have really picked up for Gardner-Webb at the plate. Sean Hupp, the senior out of Orlando, is in a tight spot on 2-2. He goes to his heat, and this ball gets away. Los Paluto puts on the brakes, and all the runners retreat. That backstop is a huge factor in this tournament.
Yeah, and you know, for these teams coming out here, that's something that they've got to, you know, kind of realize now, hey, listen, you know, when this ball goes past home plate, it could be a quick ricochet, so it really impacts the runners on the base. You see here as he runs in, immediately sees that ball bounce back quickly. And
that's
goes
a
back
diving bulldog in Los Paluto.
Yeah.
That's a slip and slide dog on Instagram, if you know what I mean. Matchup of the 2 and 3 seeds here in the Big South Conference. Upstate won the regular season series 2 out of 3. That was back on April 9th through the 11th. And Upstate with 28 conference wins. They host Gardner-Webb, who has 27. Another 3-2 to Parkhurst. He's drilled into the air. This ball might stay in the park for Maynard, and he runs out of room. KG Parkhurst is described by Jim Chester as a very special player for his commitment this offseason. He says the stats don't do justice how dangerous Parkhurst is at the plate. And after gaining 10 pounds this offseason to pure muscle, he has become a dangerous power hitter with now 15 home runs. Here he is on 3-2. Another 3-2 is lined to Matthews, and the shortstop is all over it. We mentioned no one in the bullpen, Jay. That's going to change in a hurry.
There's about 10 guys running out there now, but look at this ball. Hard hit. That's all you can do if you're Parkhurst, and Matthews just gobbles that up. The second out.
So here's Joe Simone, the senior from Wayne, New Jersey. Part of a veteran-laden Gardner-Webb roster. Double-figure seniors on this team. A lot of them electing to return for their final year. And what a year it's been for Gardner-Webb. Big South record 27 wins for the Runnin' Bulldogs. And Sean Hupp's first pitch in a jam is called a strike. Throughout this Big South tournament, pitchers' ability to escape bases-loaded jams has been very special. This will be right up there from Sean Hupp. Now the 0-1 pitch. Simone fights it off the umpire, Blumenbauer, for strike 2. Gardner-Webb has oddly struggled with the bases loaded this year. They hit just 140 at the plate. However, Joe Simone's had the best success. He's 2 for 5 in these spots. Facing Sean Hupp, who would love to escape this jam after facing the bases loaded with 1 out. It all comes down to this 0-2. Hupp to the heater, and Simone gets a piece. I love as well how Simone stares down Hupp after the pitch. It's 2 Bulldogs getting after it here in this 4th inning.
There's mind games out there. The intimidation factor is real.
Sean Hupp, who grew up a fan of The Sandlot, it was his favorite movie. He certainly knows the power of a big bulldog that can impact a baseball game. He tries to settle down this offense with Joe Simone hitting in the heart of the order. Here's the 0-2. Beautiful slider. That's called low. We asked Mike McGuire of USC Upstate what is the strength of his team, and he said it comes down to starting pitching. Well, tonight, that struggled. Jordan Marks just an inning and 2/3. So it's been up to Sean Hupp and many others since. How can he escape this fourth inning and keep this game a 4-run difference? Here's the 1-2. Count works even. And we saw how quickly Upstate sent out a militia of arms to the bullpen. They need a quality inning right here from Hupp.
Well, and Hupp now sitting at 33 pitches. He's had to labor here a little bit. You know, he's come in here after Mars went out of the ballgame. I think he's done a nice job. You know, he's just battled up there, trying to get out of this inning.
Sean Hupp on 2-2. The at-bat continues, and the breaking ball decides it. Sean Hupp strands the bases loaded as Gardner Webb unable to add on to its 4-run lead as we roll into the bottom of the fourth. A reminder, fans, Geico with 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Find out how much you could save with a fast, free quote at geico.com. I need a quote for Mason Miller fastballs over 95 miles an hour. He's been pumping it tonight in 4 innings of work. His team leads 6-2 as Gardner Webb tries to shake the bracket apart. So far, Gardner Webb doing a great job offensively. They did just strand 3 on the bases, and now Miller works with a 4-run lead.
And for the Bulldogs, missed opportunities out there. You've got to kind of try to find a way to change that, but you got to feel good. Your ace is out there in the 4th inning and has a 4-run lead.
So Jason Matthews, the shortstop, leads things off for USC Upstate. Matthews, a ground ball victim to second his first time up. And Miller starts him off with a beautiful slider. Very Jared Weaver-esque with his crossbody delivery.
He is, yeah. That's a great comparison. You look at that arm angle, and just his frame, too, tall and lanky.
Of course, Weaver stand out at Long Beach State in his collegiate career for the Dirtbags. Jason Matthews is a grinder in his own sense. 21 multi-hit games that led USC Upstate and ranked in the top 3 in the Big South. Finds a way on almost every night. And he's down on the count 1-2.
Again, just talking about his delivery. It's the deception, the ability to hide the ball, and how long it takes for the batter to pick it up coming out of your hand. He really hides it behind his shoulder, his head, and that high leg kick.
Miller right back to it, and Matthews slaps this out of play. Mason Miller, a neat story for this particular reason. He suffers from type 1 diabetes and gained 50 pounds over the last 2 years between 2019 at Waynesburg and this past year. So bulked up, throws 5 miles an hour harder, and drew a lot of attention as he is mowing down hitters. He went around on the swing, Matthews did. That's a punch out for Mason Miller.
And he's got that fastball now, mid to upper 90s. It's that off-speed pitch that's really changing the course for him as far as draft position. With that pitch developing, you got that hammer that you can throw there to close things out, get the strike, and those scouts are noticing that late movement sitting behind home plate.
4 punch-outs for Miller tonight. Now has 113 on the year. He's within striking distance of Kumar Rocker with 119 Ks for the nation's lead. That pitch is a strike. Easton Cullison gets the start at second base tonight. He's 1 for 1. And he also robbed a base hit earlier in this ballgame.
You brought up Vanderbilt, Evan. How about that 1-2 punch with Rocker and Leiter? They're going to be one of the favorites to win it all, but that's a talented staff.
This ball might stay in the park as Laspaluto just runs out of room. A neat story here for Easton Cullison. He earned his second start of the season on the final day of the regular season, and all he did was post a hit and an RBI and a win over UNC Asheville. So with no Cameron McIntosh in the lineup tonight, Coach Mike McGuire leans on his young freshman from Spartanburg, Easton Cullison, in this spot. And he throws him to the Wolves in Mason Miller. Here on 1-2, Miller gives up a line drive out of play. That's 59 pitches for Mason Miller, who threw 3 1/3. He has gone over 100 pitches in his last 4 outings, so this is not an issue for the junior arm. There's the strikeout. 5 Ks for Mason Miller.
The speed variation here. You go that off speed, that ball just dipping out of the zone. It's so tough for these batters to pick the ball up. We'll see it here. Just get on that front foot. His head tilted up a little bit. He didn't keep his head down. And that's because of that arm angle and then the trajectory of the ball just diving down.
2 gone by for Jack Gallagher, the upstate first baseman, who now hits .275 on the year. Miller's first pitch is tattooed out of play, and if there were bonus points for hard-hit foul balls, Upstate might be getting something. But unfortunately, outside of the home run from Buckner in the third, they have not put much in play against Mason Miller. Here's Miller's 63rd pitch of the game, and it's rolled to third. Over the glove of the leaping Peroni. That's a 2-out base hit.
Peroni playing in a little bit. If he would have been back, he may have had an opportunity to catch that ball. And see this ball just bounce directly up and that high hop.
Hit it in the perfect spot over the head of Peroni. So a 2-out single sets the stage for Chase Matheny, who was a strikeout victim his last time. There are many of those tonight as Miller blows by strike one. Mason Miller has mowed down hitters at nauseum. Hit a career-high 13 strikeouts at Campbell back on March 5th. That was his 3rd start of the year. And the scouts started watching after that performance where he threw 5 no-hit innings against the top offense in the Big South. Since then, he's been mowing down hitters with a 7-1 record.
Well, when you look at Miller, you see the production. You also see the potential and just his ability to even put on more weight, gain more strength. You like his delivery. So there's a reason why he's starting to get more attention.
That's a base hit as Matheny goes the other way. Here comes Gallagher unhitching the trailer towards third. He's in without a throw, and Upstate have runners at the corners.
I like the approach from Upstate here, just continuing to battle up there. Ball in the outer part of the plate. Wasn't able to get great contact and drive, but just did enough to take it out to right field. You get the runner over to third base, and now set yourself up. 2 runners on, 2 outs. Again, we talked earlier in the open, it's all about execution. In big spots, can you make something happen? Here's a big spot for Upstate.
What a moment for Damon Maynard, who would love to add on to this. He's riding a 2-game hit streak. And Miller's first pitch is rolled foul. In this ball game, Gardner-Webb has had 3 innings with the bases loaded. Upstate has not. This is their first big chance of this game. How do they capitalize here with 2 outs?
Well, in a pressure situation, you just got to come through. And you've got to sit on your pitch. You can't chase. You've got to know the zone and make sure you get a bat here where you can find a pitch and try to drive it.
Now the 0-1 for Miller. Stays up in the zone. USC Upstate, a very patient offense at the plate. They score 7 runs a game, but it is heavily relied upon the single and the double. They're not going to blow the ball out of the ballpark. And Maynard is a prime example, the junior catcher from Indianapolis out of Olney Central Community College. We'll lay on the fastball that time. It's 1-2. There's Gallagher over at third. His 2-out single got things started. That bounced over the third base bag. And now Matheny with the opposite field single. Here's a chance for Upstate in the 4th. As Mason Miller tries to clean slate. He has 2 strikeouts this inning. And give him 3 with the elevated fastball. Mason Miller up to 6 punch-outs, and he takes care of business in the 4th. Gardner Webb rolling here in Game 2 of the Ingles Big South Championship. For the best in Big South coverage, visit BigSouthSports.com. Stay current with the latest news, stats, standings, and more. Enjoy video features showcasing remarkable student athletes or connect to school sites and social media all from one place. Remember, your source for conference info is BigSouthSports.com. You know what I found on the Big South website this week? The last time these teams won a Big South title, it's never happened. And Gardner Webb made the 2011 Conference Championship Final. That's been their last appearance on Championship Saturday. They have a chance here with a 6-2 lead to really do some damage in this tournament.
They're trying to change the record books and get off to a good start here early on this game, but in this tournament, because if you can win this ball game, you're going to set yourself in a position where you get some rest tomorrow, have that one win under your belt. And Gardner Webb has a lot of depth in their pitching staff, so they'll be setting themselves up against a dangerous Presbyterian team.
You know what's fascinating? The winner of this game needs to win just one more game to get to the championship final. And certainly a 2-0 start is ideal in this double elimination format. Here's Dom Peroni, the third baseman senior from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Sean Hupp's first pitch after escaping a bases-loaded jam last inning misses inside. Peroni 1 for 2 with a base hit in the second, one of 7 hits allowed by Jordan Marks. That was his most hits surrendered in 5 starts, and he did it in just 2 innings tonight. Dom Peroni had a fantastic stretch in the middle of April. This is from April 16th to the 30th, basically to close out the month. 7 runs, 7 RBIs, and 15 hits in 10 games. That's kept him in the lineup as a mainstay at third, and now he works ahead 3-0. And what's fascinating about this Peroni run, he had 5 errors before that stretch, hit the reboot on April 16th, and then won a 10-game hit streak as he works out a leadoff walk.
Now Hupp, 41 pitches here. Pitch count starting to add up. There's still activity in the bullpen. But another inning here. Gardner Webb gets that first batter over to first base and puts pressure on Hupp.
Nothing is more fitting than mentioning the word activity and then listening to Toto as someone steps up to the box. As J.P. McGuire makes his way in, the junior from Norcross, Georgia. It has felt like an uprising tonight for Gardner-Webb. 6 runs in the second. That's been the difference. And McGuire watches the 5th straight miss for Sean Hupp here in this 5th inning. You mentioned the pitch count up over 40. It's an interesting decision here for Coach McGuire as he's lost Marks, at least for tomorrow, and Hupp now may be out of the question at least until Saturday as well. Now, coaches would argue on the reverse. Every win tonight allows you to pitch whoever you want the next day.
Right. And with Hupp in this situation, I mean, I think the coaching staff is going to let him go as long as they can as there's a meeting on the mound. So
as Coach McGuire says, nope.
They could be on a pitch count here and kind of, making sure that, hey, we'll have an opportunity to bring him back Saturday, and it looks like that is what's going to happen here. The activity in the bullpen looks like it may be coming out on the field.
Here's Mike McGuire in his second year, a graduate of South Carolina back in '94, and all he's done is rebuilt this program. It was a job he wanted to return close to home, and you see that bullpen. Okay, there's the bullpen catcher. That's his 10 seconds of fame, brought to you by Ingles, proud sponsor of the Big South. And the decision has been made. A new pitcher coming in for USC Upstate here in the 5th.
So Hupp finishes with 42 pitches. So we believe if they make it to Saturday, he'll have an opportunity to come back.
That's the cat and mouse game these teams have to play, evaluating the importance of tonight, but also preserving some options for later in this tournament. It's certainly fascinating here in Game 1 as Trey Miller enters the game, the freshman from Danville, Pennsylvania. And you wonder here as this game continues. I know it's a 6-2 ball game, very winnable for either team. How do you evaluate if you're USC Upstate trailing by 4 with a game tomorrow morning? Who do you throw? Who do you save as this tournament goes on?
Well, I think you said it's an interesting dilemma. You've got to plan for the present, but also the future, and also what-if scenarios. I think what you try to do here is try to eat up innings, see if your bats can come back in here, and then you're going to assess this game and try to win this, obviously, but you also have to have a backup plan. And right now your goal is to win this, but you also have to have something to fall back on.
We'll figure all that out next as we'll come back in just 30 seconds.
Did you know that Geico's whole 15 minutes thing, that came from me? Really? My first idea was, in 1/4 of an hour, your savings will tower. Over you, figuratively speaking. But that's not catchy, is it? That's not going to swim about in your brain. So I thought, what about 15 minutes, 15%? Serendipity.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to Segra Stadium here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Gardner-Webb forcing a pitching change here as Trey Miller comes out of the pen for USC Upstate. Miller, just a freshman from Lake Tapps, Washington. He's thrown 33 innings, mostly as a long reliever for the Spartans. And it's worth noting, in 12 appearances, the team has won 10 of those outings, including against Gardner-Webb. He threw 4 1/3, no earned runs allowed in that outing. And Upstate will need a lot of that here from Miller tonight.
Yeah, opposing batters only hitting 246 against him. So, again, kind of the same role that Hupp had coming in. He's got to come in here, just solidify things, slow down the bats of Gardner-Webb, and try to eat up some innings.
Big deep breath from Trey Miller, who enters for Sean Hupp. His line still to be decided, but Hupp in the meantime gives him 2 1/3 innings after Jordan Marks pitches the first 4 outs. Here's McGuire at the plate. And he works with a fresh count. It's 3-0. A tough spot to inherit for any pitcher as Gardner-Webb looks to add more damage in this inning. There's the 3-0. There's a strike from Trey Miller, who enters this game with 20 strikeouts to 9 walks. A good 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. USC Upstate has the best strikeout to walk ratio in the conference. They enter this game with 330 punch-outs. There's the 3-1. And he's quickly a full. J.P. McGuire closed out his regular season hitting 7 for 13 with a home run and 2 runs batted in his final weekend series. And after a 1 for 2 start today, he tipped the 3-2 foul. Okay, if you're that girl on the bottom right, do you clap your hands or do you hold the hot dog? That's the million-dollar question.
You got to eat. You got to finish the meal, and then you can.
Or you got to pose for the pictures, is how the girl next to her in the blonde hair doing as well. Game 2 of the Ingles Big South Championships. As that's ball 4 in back-to-back walks. Peroni and McGuire put 2 runners on. Gardner-Webb, the number 3 seed, trying to avenge a series lost to USC Upstate back on April 9th, 10th, and 11th. They are rolling here in the 5th inning. So Joe Brazil checks in, and all he did was rip a double off of Jordan Marks back in the 2nd inning. Big spot for Trey Miller out of the bullpen. And he misses with a slider. This is a spot where Gardner-Webb could just add enough separation to make things so much easier on Mason Miller on the mound.
Yeah, they just need to get more of a comfortable lead. Right now they're feeling good, but if they can get some more runners across, they're going to really feel a lot better about their chances.
It's quickly 1-1 on Joe Brazil. Okay, back to our subjects at hand. You see the French fries with the chili, and it looks like nachos on the bottom right there. So I understand why you don't clap your hands on that song, but this next song's kind of rowdy as well, as you have the burger combination in the bottom left.
They made some good decisions on food choices over there.
That's a great menu for the Runnin' Bulldog fans watching Gardner-Webb, the number 3 seed, jump ahead of USC Upstate. As that pitch is called high for ball 2. I'm told there's a barbecue hot dog here at Segra Stadium. It's fantastic. It's bacon wrapped with mixed up barbecue meat along with the dog, relish, mustard, the whole ordeal. It's quite a delicious hot dog. I might sneak over there in the 7th inning tonight. The 2-1. That clips the corner. Gardner-Webb scored 6 runs in the 2nd. They have not scored since, but have had chances in this game. USC Upstate with the 2-run shot, the big fly from Devin Buckner in the 3rd. And that's been it for these 2 offenses tonight. The 3-1 is hacked on and missed. And actually it was full, so that's a strikeout of Joe Brazil.
You see this swing here. He was going for the fences, and then you saw that little stutter there.
And the frustration of the girls with the food. They wanted to slam those nachos down. I appreciate the fandom. I appreciate the support. Great to have fans in attendance. That's what fans like. Although those Gardner-Webb fans do not like the strikeout of Joe Brazil. So Ben Laspaluto watches a bullet of a fastball miss low. Gardner-Webb searches to make a name for itself here in Big South tournament play. And what a fantastic start in the first 4 innings. Laspaluto late on the fastball. Gardner-Webb all-time in Big South tournaments just 11-18. They've made 1 championship game appearance and have a winning record against just 1 program. 2-0 against Charleston Southern all-time. This is the first matchup against Upstate. And Miller's 1-1 pitch is drilled. That is foul. Remember, this is USC Upstate's just 2nd full year in the Big South. They were the play-in game 2 seasons ago in 2019, lost to Charleston Southern as they finished 10th overall in the conference. What a turnaround for this Upstate program. They had the regular season all lined up before a series loss against Campbell 2 weeks ago. And that dropped them into the second spot where they held off Gardner-Webb to earn that number 2 seed. Now a pick off to second, and that ball gets away. Maybe some interference, but I think that was incidental contact there with Peroni and Cullison.
And good awareness out in center field by Jack Hennessy coming up there, recognizing that ball went through and not allowing the runner to go over to third. We'll see Hennessy here. This ball is going over the shoulder.
Oh, my gosh. That's a dangerous play for Dom Peroni. As Miller steps off for the moment. Trey Miller, the true freshman, his 35th inning of work right here. It's a big spot. Gardner-Webb is threatening once again.
This pace has really slowed down.
Yeah, Miller's treating this like it's the bottom of the ninth inning, which is very important for USC Upstate. Now the 1-2. It's a breaking ball, chopped foul off the bat of Las Paludo.
Really taking a lot off that pitch. The ball hung up a little bit, but it was so high he couldn't get solid contact. There's late movement.
So we have an update. A voice to text has joined the conversation with the man at the end of the row. I just hope they order like some dessert next, so when we get that first base cam on them, we can really check out
next item.
What's coming up. Yeah, there's a lot of time to buy some concessions here in the ballpark at Segra Stadium. Alongside Jay Sunhalter, I'm Evan Budrovich. As the 1-2 pitch stays up and inside. We'll be with you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for elimination round coverage. Campbell takes on the loser of this matchup. And then at 3 o'clock, Presbyterian, the number 4 seed, waits for the winner of this game. An odd time for two coaching staffs waiting and watching to see their opponent. That's the neat aspect of tournament play, especially with this quick turnaround. Now the 2-2 pitch. That is called low, and the count is full to Las Paludo. Not as late as the Southern Miss game last night that was Conference USA. Mm-hmm. That game ended at 4 o'clock Eastern in the morning. It started at 1 o'clock Eastern. I would have thought there had been a drop-dead rule of midnight, but there was one year in the Big South in 2017 where Radford and High Point started the game at 11:30, and the drop-dead start time had to be before 12:15, or the game was moved to the next day. Here's the 3-2. That's rolled back up the middle. Tough play for the catcher, Maynard, who scoops a wild throw, and that sneaks into right field. Gardner-Webb adds a run to its lead as Peroni touches home, and the throwing mistake makes it 7-2.
They're Upstate just trying to do too much. Gardner-Webb going to take advantage of being aggressive on the base pass. We'll see this ball got just dribbled, and the ball just sailing over towards the right. Almost a huge collision.
So that's officially an error, and now Gardner-Webb has extended its lead 7-2. All of a sudden, Jay, with second and third, Gardner-Webb has a chance to break this game open. Here's the top of the lineup in Mitch McClendon. McClendon, one of 5 seniors and 9 upperclassmen in this Gardner-Webb lineup. Huge part of their resurgence from the 6th-ranked team to the 3rd-ranked team, and they've been top 3 all season long. Here's Trey Miller's first pitch, and that's called a strike, as I think that crossed up his catcher Maynard that time.
Good opportunity here. Come out to the mound. Make sure you're on the same page, because, again, even though you're well behind at this ball game, this is a big inning to see if you can get out of this jam and try to get over to the dugout. They've got to make sure that their communication is right, especially with runners on base and runner over on second that could look at the signal. So you want to make sure that the communication is there, and also have that opportunity to talk about how you want to attack here to try to get the out.
Big spot at the plate for Mitch McClendon, who's reached base all 3 times tonight. including a single in the second. He faces Trey Miller, the true freshman, here on 0-1. This pitch is drilled towards the tarp, which we hope will not be used at all this weekend, because nothing is worse than a rain delay in a conference tournament.
No rain and no lightning. Those are the two things you do not want to see on the forecast or the radar.
Mitch McClendon extended his hit streak to 6 games back in the second. He's now hitting over 300 for the first time all year. And on 0-2, he lays off a high fastball. Gardner-Webb has now left 5 on the bases. They had the bases loaded and nobody out in the first and could not score. This 7 runs could be 11 or 12 quickly.
This game could have been broken open if they would have had those timely hits. And here, kind of trying to correct some of the things that they haven't been able to do in the first couple innings.
Trey Miller trying to escape this inning. On 1-2, he gives up a ground ball that's bobbled by Gallagher. That allows the run to score. And with the second out recorded, it's 8-2 on the RBI ground out by McClendon.
Well, I'll tell you, Gardner-Webb, they haven't got that big hit, but we talked about manufacturing runs. It's getting runners across. They're doing their job here. Another runner going across. You get the ground ball. Continue to stretch out this lead.
That's a quick pep talk there from McClendon, giving Jones his words of expertise. And more importantly, Jay, you match the 2 runs that Upstate scored in the third with 2 of your own. Eric Jones 1 for 3 with a strikeout tonight. That base hit came back in the first. And Miller's first pitch is left up but popped out of play. We expected this game to be of a 3-2 variety, and boy, we're proven wrong with 6 runs from Gardner-Webb back in the second inning. They've added on since and have forced the hand of USC Upstate deep into its bullpen. It's a well-staffed pen, but they will expend plenty of arms tonight as the 0-1 is grounded foul.
But I'll tell you, with this long inning here, Mason Miller's had a lot of time to rest over in the dugout. His pitch count's starting to creep up, but his team being at the bat has given him an opportunity to just relax over there and kind of gain his legs back here to try to close things out.
Miller with 6 strikeouts would enjoy a 6-run lead as he heads back to the 5th. Now on 0-2, that fastball stays up, and it's popped up as well. Rip comes in, Cullison goes back, and Julian Rip, the all-conference outfielder, makes the catch. Gardner-Webb adds 2 to its lead. It's 8-2 through 4.5. Join the growing network of fans on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. Plus, get game updates and on-site championship coverage via Twitter at Big South Game Day. Follow, watch, like, and share with the Big South. And we've added a Pepsi to our equation. Pepsi, that's what fans like. This Gardner-Webb family is enjoying an 8-2 lead as we roll into the bottom of the 5th. Did you expect this tournament to take such a weird turn with the 3 and 4 seeds starting to dominate these first 2 matchups?
A lot of unexpected occurrences that we've seen. Presbyterian came out with that hot start against Campbell, won that ball game. That was a huge upset. And then here we thought this was going to be a low-scoring pitchers duel. And, Miller –
he saw up his end of the bargain.
Yeah, I mean, he's really pitched at a high level. But on the other side, Upstate just hasn't gotten it going. And you're right, it's going to set up for an interesting couple days here.
This is Jack Hennessy flying one out to left. Brazil comes in, and all of a sudden, Mason Miller gave up 2 hits in the 4th. Otherwise, he settled in quite nicely later in this game.
Yeah, he just wants to keep this game quiet. Just do your work out there. Do not get any momentum on the Upstate side. Just continuing to throw strikes and do what you've been doing all day. Set up your off-speed pitches with your fastball.
One out here for Julian Ripp, the all-conference outfielder who's 1 for 2 today. And I love the softball approach from Ripp, who's a contact hitter. Gets jammed on that one inside. In fact, Julian Ripp now has 50 hits on the season, one of 6 players in this lineup with at least 50 hits, as the Spartans are sitting on game 52 this year. It's interesting in the Big South conversation in terms of league leaders. The Camels have dominated in the offensive department, but USC Upstate is right there as the 2nd best offense by average, by doubles, on base percentage. However, tonight against Mason Miller, not much to show for. Here's the 2-1. And Miller is really starting to find his confidence as he crosses the 75 pitch mark.
Yeah, and once he gets to this point, you see his delivery, his velocity. It looks just like the first inning. And that just goes to show you all that work he put in the offseason, that added weight, the strength in his lower body to have that endurance to continue to pitch at a high level.
That slider misses outside.
He's just got to focus on finishing, especially on that off-speed pitch. You can see that ball off the plate, but it hung up in the zone. He's got to make sure that he really gets that same torque and follow-through past his knee.
That pitch is drilled to first. Good stab by Parkhurst. Not just the home run hitter, but a nice defensive play. That's 2 straight outs to start the 5th.
We talked about a quiet inning. Workman-like effort there. Hard hit ball, but you've got Parkhurst over on first. He's had a big day offensively, now showing off his glove.
He's also showing off those forearms with a little tomahawk chop behind his back. Okay. Forearm curls important.
A little bicep action.
He did gain 15 pounds this offseason, and the Gardner-Webb really credit the strength and conditioning staff for bulking up this entire team, and we've seen it with the power numbers, 65 home runs. That matches Campbell for the Big South lead entering today's ball game. Campbell should have had a home run today, but Bryce Arnold was robbed by Presbyterian in game 1. Decker with a fantastic catch over the wall in center. As Mason Miller pounds in a quick strike, it's 1-1 to Buckner.
Well, Evan, you talked about the weight training. Every team works hard in the offseason, but which team is going to carry that over to the field? And you could see that power surge really pay off from all that time in the weight room.
Buckner shoots one out to right center. That ball is like gap written all over, and that's an extra base hit. Buckner sprints out of the gates, and he's got a double. Back-to-back extra base hits, and a heck of a celebration there by Buckner.
Let's see Buckner here. Compact power stroke, and he knew that was a shot as soon as it left the bat and immediately sprinting out of the box. Good job by Gardner-Webb getting this ball in quickly by Simone. And then here's the emotion. Even though there's a huge deficit, this is a confident bunch.
Devin Buckner reminds me a lot of Jack Parkman from Major League. With the personality, with the enthusiasm, with the shirt unbuttoned halfway down. He's got some pop as well. 18th double of the year. And now Noah Raybon takes ball 1. This top 5 in the USC Upstate lineup hits a combined .347 as a team. An extra base hit machine in terms of doubles. They do it so well with 89 doubles as a team. And this top 5 does so much of the damage as Raybon watches strike 1. What Miller has been able to do is limit this top 5 to just 3 hits. Now, Buckner has made a living off this pitcher tonight. He's also struck out 3 in this top half of the lineup. Here's the 1-1. This might do it at the end of the inning. Los Baluto charges, makes a nifty throw on the run, and Mason Miller is loving it. Gardner-Webb leads by 6 as we go to the 6th inning here on ESPN.
There's not a secret to what actually happens behind the scenes at a bank. Here at First Citizens, we're trying to educate the client in each step of what's actually going to happen and actually have them make the educated decision around what steps and what options they utilize. We want to become that trusted advisor that actually guides them down that road, helping you reach your goals. That's Forever First.
Pepsi Wild Cherry.
Tired of cooking at home? Change it up without getting up. Just order Jersey Mike's through our app for no-contact delivery or no-contact at-the-door pickup. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
The doctor said I had prostate cancer. I needed to do something else. I said, can I go to proton therapy? Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute. He said, yeah, you can do it, man. It's a breeze, man. When I went for the treatments, there were no side effects. Whatever you could do before, you could do it after. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad I can go down there. But I tell you right now, I wanted to let those people know that I really appreciate it. Man, HU is his spot. This is Cindy. When you call her up, she's so nice on the phone. This is Jen. This is Ashley.
USC Upstate leaning on its bullpen here in the 6th inning, live from Segra Stadium in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Evan Budrovich here with Jay Sunhalter for Game 2 of the Ingles Big South Championship. And now for USC Upstate, down 6 in the 6th inning. How do you manage the bullpen here if you're head coach Mike McGuire?
Well, and that's a big decision. I mean, what do you do, especially when you are in a position right now? If you don't come back, you're going to be back out here playing again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. I mean, I think in this situation, if Miller continues to pitch at a high level, I think you've got to leave him in the ball game and let him close this out, because the more arms you get in here when you've got this deficit, you're just going to burn those arms up for the game tomorrow and potentially the games after.
It's an interesting dilemma these teams have to face. And here's an aggressive swing from Patrick Ferguson to start the top of the 6th. Ferguson's on the first-team all-swing club. He really brings it out. He'd be one heck of a drive shack player. Big uppercut, left-handed swing, 13 home runs, and he can really drive the baseball. This pitch is taken for a strike.
It's interesting to watch the approach from all these different hitters and see Ferguson here. He has that high leg kick where he can really load up on that back left foot and coil to launch into the ball if he swings.
He swings this time and goes down. 3 pitches and an out for Trey Miller to start the 6th.
Good job with the pitch selection, keeping the ball up in the count and getting the strikeout on Ferguson. And see that power position, a good solid base. The ball just up above the wrist. They couldn't get his bat head around.
From one power threat to another, KG Parkhurst digs in. And I love that composite bat he swings. It looks so much like wood. It swings like metal. It's got a nice sound off the bat as that's poked foul. And he put quite a jolt into a ball back in the 2nd inning. Not only a critical 2-run shot, but the celebration gong that he banged on his way back to the dugout was something special, and we'll see it later tonight.
That was great. And ever since Miami's football team had the turnover chain, there's a new celebration now carrying over to baseball. That's good just to see the emotion. A big spot in the ball game. And Evan, he drilled that ball to the opposite field. He didn't even get a perfect swing on that, and that just shows you the power that he has when you can drive the ball that far.
Trey Miller's fastball is left up, and that's popped out of play. If the score remains this way, coming up tomorrow at 11 a.m., it'll be the number 1 seed Campbell as the home team hosting the number 2 seed USC Upstate, with the loser of that game eliminated from this tournament, and their at-large chances are squandered here in the Big South.
And if that matchup does happen, who would have thought that? No one would have predicted the 1-2 potentially in the loser's bracket, where it's win or go home. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on that ball game, whoever faces off with Campbell, especially early on, to bring the energy and emotion in a ball game that starts at 11 a.m.
Get your coffee bright and early. Ready for that one on the ESPN family of networks. Here's the 1-2. Parkhurst lays off inside. That'll be on ESPN Plus tomorrow morning. Then the winner of this game, for the moment, Gardner-Webb sitting in good position, will take on Presbyterian. And those teams will meet up at 3 o'clock in a winner's bracket game that you want to be in for sure. Gardner-Webb won 2 of 3 in Clinton back on May 7th and the 8th as Parkhurst Pokes went out of play. Looking forward to tomorrow, possibly. Campbell finished 5-1 against USC Upstate in the regular season. Now, as we've seen in this tournament, regular season numbers don't mean as much in postseason play.
Yeah, and a whole new season we've talked about. This is a new weekend. Everything's out in front of you.
Here's the 2-2 to the plate. Parkhurst, oh man, off his own ankle. Those shin protectors can only do so much on a foul ball hit that hard.
That's painful. See him there taking a little bit of time. Look at his swing.
Oh, I think he just crossed himself up on that swing, actually. Oh, the hands. Yes, the hands in the girl in the blue shirt. I love it. She wants nothing to do with that swing.
And Parkhurst over here getting some extra time with the coaching staff and the umpire coming over.
Kat Ayette, 17th season as the athletic trainer, keeping tabs. He does a great job with this program and keeping an eye on KG Parkhurst, who has worked the count to 2-2. It's 1 for 3 with a home run tonight. Tries to extend that here against Trey Miller, the freshman, who misses outside to work the count full. There is action slowly warming up in the Upstate bullpen. So if you're Trey Miller at 22 pitches, this might be his next not only inning, but the next 2 to 3 to buy his bullpen some depth. Now on 3-2 to Parkhurst. That is drilled out to left. A looping line drive that drops in for a one-out single.
Yeah, Parkhurst battling back after that foul ball and getting crossed up there. And he didn't drill this, but he found the hole in the outfield. We'll see him here toe tap. That ball so low in the zone. That swing just fluid, makes it look easy.
As Sawyer Worrell warms up in the Upstate bullpen, this is a big spot. Joe Simone, who is 0 for 3, but he's hit the ball hard twice. Watches a nifty, filthy, beautiful, whatever adjective you want to put, breaking ball for strike one. By the way, the stirrups tucked into the long pants, not a fan. I like the stirrup socks. I like the long pants. I don't like the cross misc here that Parkhurst is sporting tonight.
What? Okay,
because
so
that
there.
stirrup look with the short pant, that's a short pant cut at the knee, it just looks a lot cleaner. Some players will tuck the pant into the stirrup a bit higher up towards the calf, but when you do it at ankle level, it just creates that awkward little blip you see there from Parkhurst.
So if you're out in the field, you're saying that would be your style.
I'm going either with the stirrup or I'm going long pant.
Okay.
Now,
one or the other, but yeah, I like it.
Certainly, Jim Chester's allowed his team to embrace their personality with uniform outfits, and you got to love what Gardner-Webb's been able to do this year. 27-13 in the conference. This should be out number 2 as Matthews retreats back, and the senior shortstop makes the catch. He was one of 3 players to start for Upstate on that 2019 squad that barely qualified for the Big South tournament. They were a number 9 seed, lost in the play-in round to Charleston Southern, and then they were knocked out in that very first night of the tournament. And you wonder, with the number 1 team playing tomorrow with Campbell, it would be a chance for Upstate not only to go 2 in barbecue, but still search for a first Big South tournament win in program history.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of firsts still on the table.
Time called here by Dom Peroni at the plate. Quick game reset. Gardner-Webb was 6 runs in the second. They exploded. Upstate 2 in the third, and 2 more from Gardner-Webb in the fifth to create some breathing room. As this pitch misses inside to Dom Peroni, the third baseman of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Trey Miller, the third pitcher of the night for USC Upstate. He's got an inning and 2/3 tonight, and he misses to fall behind 2-0. How dangerous, Jay, is this Gardner-Webb team if they continue on a roll like this?
They've looked great so far. You look at the command of Miller, A+. He's done his job in this offense. Other than a couple innings where they left runners stranded, you've seen big hits. In critical situations, you've seen them manufacture runs. The biggest thing I've seen is them staying patient at the plate. These balls that are out of the zone, you see that they're staying on that back foot. They're not swinging. They're living to fight another pitch and getting ahead in counts.
On cue, a 3-0 count to Dom Peroni. They have really made USC Upstate work in terms of pitch count. Combined between the three arms tonight, 126 pitches, and we're only in the 6th inning. Conversely, Mason Miller has thrown 70 pitches through 5. Now the 3-0 to the plate. Yeah, there's your strike.
Well, we've talked about the pitchers having command of the strike zone, but on the other side of it, the batters have to know their zone as well too, and that's what I've seen is them really lay off pitches out of the zone and swing at mistakes that they've seen from the Spartans and take advantage of those pitches over the middle part of the plate.
This is high into the air towards right. Drifting back is Rip. He runs out of room at the wall, and that is over the fence. Dom Peroni with an Oppo Taco in the 6th. Puts a 2 spot on the board for Gardner-Webb. Where's the bong? Where's the gong? There it is. Not as dramatic, but the point still.
He forgot to get it.
There's Parkhurst.
There you go.
There we go.
You'll see opposite field power again. Peroni, inside out swing, driving it to right field. This ball carrying here tonight.
Dom Peroni with his 6th home run of the season, and a similar swing here from J.P. McGuire. Okay, Jay, now in a 10-2 ball game, all eyes are on how you handle this USC Upstate bullpen the rest of the way.
Yeah, and so the question is, do you go to the bullpen now and start to burn up more arms? Or with this huge deficit, do you just kind of continue on this track? Because you would be going to your 4th pitcher if you make a move.
Especially when you consider Trey Miller. He's a long reliever by trade, a former midweek starter. He's thrown 3 or 4 innings multiple times.
I think in this situation,
you almost burn Miller?
Stay with Miller. I mean, unless he gets into big trouble, you don't want to go to the bullpen when you're down by 8 runs. And, you can use those guys again, but if you get a situation on Saturday.
So it's a 2-part question. At what point do you say this game is over and we have to prepare for tomorrow's game? Or is 8 runs enough where you feel like your offense could stay in it? And as it's quickly a strikeout, J.P. McGuire goes down on strikes. Not before Gardner-Webb adds 2 to the scoreboard. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Here's Mason Miller, the ace of the Gardner-Webb staff, voted first team all-conference by the Big South. Another impressive performance tonight, really dialing it up with the strikeouts as well.
He's looked really good. Those stats look nice, but you see the graphics right there. The Bulldogs, the baseball, and the radar gun. The scouts have been out tonight, and I think they've been very impressed with Miller's ability to mix in his off-speed pitches, but his fastball has been in the mid to upper 90s, and that's the strength of his game. And Major League Baseball has taken their attention on Miller.
Mason Miller is ranked a top 100 prospect in all of college baseball, and he almost got hit by his catcher on the rundown. He'll throw down a second.
It's close.
It's like a prized possession. You got to be careful. He's 6'5". He's got a golden arm. Don't want to hurt Mason Miller tonight. Whose lone bugaboo was the 2-run shot allowed to Devin Buckner back in the third. Otherwise, Jay, he's been nearly unhittable tonight.
Yeah. He's looked good, and this is going to be a pitcher's duel, we thought, but he's come in, held up his end.
So Jason Matthews leads things off for USC Upstate, the first team all-conference shortstop. He was named Player of the Week 3 times this season, including the final week of the regular season. How about this for an ending statement? 12 hits and 5 runs batted in one series. That was in a dominant sweep over UNC Asheville as Matthews goes down swinging, 1-1.
For the Spartans here tonight, you just haven't seen these batters be comfortable. And opponents are only batting .211 against Miller, and you can see why. You know, with that fastball, his array of pitches, it's tough to feel good in the batter's box, especially for the right-handed hitters with that sweeping arm motion. These guys just haven't been able to pick up the ball.
Mason Miller, the most strikeouts in the league, the most strikeouts looking, and opposing batting average, he's first in the league as well. So dominant. The 2-1 fools Matthews. A front door breaking ball to a hitter who's batting .350. That's difficult to do.
Yeah, and you see that arm action again across his body where it's coming from the far right, and then that sweeping motion. It's so hard.
There's the sweeping slider, and Mason Miller up to 7 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, it's just tough to track the ball with those angles, especially when it's falling out of the zone. Ball well off the plate. Matthews knew it when he was out on his front foot.
1 out for Easton Cullison, making his 3rd start of the season. And he grounds the first pitch foul. This, to me, would seem to be the inning. If Gardner-Webb can get 2 quick outs, keep a 10-2 lead into the 7th, it's never over, but it might start to feel like Gardner-Webb is locked in this victory.
Yeah, and this game's shortening down, so you get out of here. You stretch this lead out to 8 runs, you're going to be in the driver's seat.
It's quickly 0-2. In the regular season, the Big South implemented a mercy rule or run rule after 7 innings if a team led by 10 or more. Here in the postseason, that's not a factor, so both teams have to use arms the rest of the way. And that matters especially for Upstate tonight because they return tomorrow at 11 a.m. against a Campbell team that is desperate to get back on the field after a tough loss.
Yeah, it's a big factor. You know, we've been talking about the strategy of playing in the moment, but also having a long-term plan.
Wow, that fastball is nasty. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mason Miller.
Now for Miller, over 90 pitches, the question is going to be how long do you let him go?
Oh, this is it. He's going to go as long as he can tonight.
Well, I mean, pitch count-wise. I mean, are you going to let him go well beyond 100? And here's a swing here. That high fastball, so tough to get around on.
Might be his final start as a running Bulldog pitcher. And Mason Miller has put on a nice display. 8 strikeouts in 5 2/3. Here's Jack Gallagher with 2 gone by. And the slider gets him. Would you have the guts to take out Mason Miller right now the way he's throwing?
Well, I wouldn't take him out now, but at what point do you as far as the pitch count goes? I mean, I say –
I mean, that's pitch 94. It looks pretty good on the outer black.
But, I mean, how long do you want him to go as far as just arm health? Like maybe 110, 120? Maybe in that range.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Mason Miller has thrown over 100 pitches in his last 4 starts. His season high, 125.
So that's the mark. I'd say you don't want him to go over that point. But, again, he's been dominant here tonight, and he's eating up these innings. So if you can get to tomorrow, win this game, and then not use up your bullpen, you're going to be in a really good spot.
Mason Miller with 2 strikeouts this inning. Give him 3 as the arm of the conference is fired up tonight. Gardner-Webb leads by 8 as we go to the 7th here in the Ingles Big South Championship. Find the best variety of officially licensed merchandise and conference and school branded items at BigSouthStore.com. Gear up with new apparel or find that perfect gift for Jason Halter. Get fully equipped for all your game day fun at BigSouthStore.com. I am going to buy tonight a sweater. Because the way Mason Miller has been pitching for Gardner-Webb, he is cooling off the bats of USC Upstate. So buy me a Running Bulldog sweater tonight.
I love it. I love it.
What's your article of choice tonight? Article of clothing.
I'll go with the T-shirt just because it's hot outside. So we can, we'll get the T-shirt and the sweatshirt covered.
You see Jim Chester, the head coach of Gardner-Webb, in the bottom left corner there, sneaking between the glass. His offense has been clicking on all cylinders tonight. And these Running Bulldogs can taste a critical victory to start this Big South tournament.
Well, they've been alive down in the dugout ever since the start, and that's a big part of this is having that intensity, but the emotion. They're on the other side has been more quiet for good reason. Upstate hasn't played their best game, but Gardner-Webb has come out here mentally focused from the first pitch.
So Gardner-Webb leads on the bottom third of this lineup against USC Upstate, who goes to a pitching change. Sawyer Worrell comes in out of the pen, and we were wondering how Mike McGuire was going to handle this situation. So Sawyer Worrell has actually started 7 games in the midweek. He's a midweek starter, long-term reliever, and in 14 appearances, a 4-1 record with a 4 ERA. Maybe this is just for an inning or two, but this is an interesting move here, leading on an arm they trust in Sawyer Worrell.
Yeah, he's going to get some work here. But you're right, here with this game shortened up, do you continue on with him for another couple innings, or do you just get him some work here, 1 inning and get him out?
There were polls across college baseball of D1Baseball.com. 10 national writers. They all picked conference winners across the country. In the Big South, 7 picked USC Upstate, 3 picked Campbell. Not a single person picked Gardner-Webb or Presbyterian. And both teams are in line for victories tonight. That's how crazy this tournament can be.
It is. It's a quick turnaround, a quick tournament, 3 days. So what team will be hot? Who's going to come in here, play the best baseball and solid, the defensive side and in the pitching staff, and as well with the bats.
There's a strike from Sawyer Worrell as he pounds the zone. The freshman of Clayton, North Carolina, has actually started some long-term games this year, but in his last appearance, 2 innings scoreless against UNC Asheville. Good breaking ball, and it's quickly 2-2. It begs the question between Upstate and Campbell, which team out of the elimination bracket can go deeper or make a long run in this tournament?
Well, I mean, you think about both these teams, you figure they're going to be probably in the winner's bracket, and you look at that matchup potentially.
As that's called strike 3 on Joe Brazil to start the 7th.
And Campbell, didn't play their best ball game, but there's a reason they're number 1. in the league coming in to this tournament. So I'd say, yeah, they've got the edge. But again, it's going to come down to how much arms do you burn up here tonight for the Spartans, and how your pitching staff is going to hold up, the timely hitting. So I think everything's up for grabs. I would say probably Campbell would have the slight be the slight favorite in that ball game. But again, who's going to come out with intensity on an early ball game tomorrow at 11 a.m.?
Ben Laspaluto leads things off with 1 out as he smacks that pitch foul. It's worth noting Campbell this year in doubleheader days, which for any team that loses, they have to play twice. Campbell in 18 matchups only lost twice, a 16-2 record. USC Upstate also a dominant record in doubleheader matchups. So both those clubs have an ability to win 2 games in a day. It's just a whole different challenge when you get to tournament time. Worrell goes back to work, and a beautiful curveball, but that stays down. So here tonight for Gardner-Webb, Hupp goes 2 1/3. Miller throws 2 innings, both at 48 and 42 pitches. So maybe available tomorrow, but probably not until tomorrow night. And this pitch is skied into the air. That threw off Matheny, who now sprints in. Matthews goes back, and the left fielder's got it for the second out. And if you're Gardner-Webb, you're basically sitting pretty in this spot because your ace, who is not going to throw the rest of this week anyway, Mason Miller, has shut down USC Upstate. Now you have some options with Bobby Alcock and others like Kyle Ruman in the rotation that can work deep into this tournament for Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, and not only is he pitch great, but we talked about him eating up innings. Fresh bullpen, fresh arms. He's going to get into the 7th here. But again, just the confidence that you gain if you can win this ball game against the number 2 seed, to have this type of performance is huge as you roll into Friday and potentially Saturday as well.
Do you double knot your laces, however? That's the main question.
Double up the laces?
Double knot, like bunny rabbit through the loop around?
I would need to.
You probably wore the Skechers straps, the Velcro straps.
I was more of a straps or just slide in shoe. I wasn't ever good with tying my shoe. I
see your laces now. You're wearing these nice black sneakers, and they're barely tied once.
Yeah, I don't.
They're about ready to come loose.
I probably need to take some more lessons on tying my shoes.
Well, you can learn a thing or two here from Gardner-Webb's top of the order. This is Mitch McClendon. He's reached base 3 times tonight. Currently is 1 for 4. There's a strike. So in the 3 o'clock matchup, Gardner-Webb and Presbyterian, both teams have been impressive offensively. Both teams have had great aces. Each throw 6 innings plus. Who do you think has the upper hand in that matchup at 3 o'clock?
I mean, tomorrow will be a new day, but potentially I would say it's Gardner-Webb. I mean, what they are able to do here tonight so far. You knock out Marks, the Big South pitcher of the year, early on, and then your bats have come alive. Now, on the opposite end, Presbyterian looked really good against Campbell as well. They were able to really slow the Campbells down, but also anytime there's any momentum switch in that ball game, potential times where Campbell was coming alive, they found a way to put out that fire. So both sides are going to roll into that ballgame with some momentum, but I would give the edge to Gardner-Webb.
That's a difficult chopper, galloped up by Gallagher, who knocks it down. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. Time to stretch in Fayetteville. Gardner-Webb leads by 8.
Whether it's the practice field or weight room, in class or on game day, we compete down here. We put in work, day in and day out, to take a step forward towards degrees, championships. Our goals? Excellence on every level. 11 schools, more than 4,000 student athletes, one attitude. We are the Big South, where winners are made.
Discover Gardner-Webb University, a community where you'll learn to make a living and make a difference, where you'll form relationships that last a lifetime, explore and deepen your faith, play Division I sports, cheer on the running Bulldogs, embrace the arts. Come and be challenged and mentored. Come and ignite your future.
Upstate. It's where global commerce and nature's beauty live in harmony. It's where the next generation of leaders is rising. It's $500 million to our economy each and every year. Perhaps most important, it's where lifelong bonds are forged. It's our time. It's our place. It's our pride. It's our university.
9 strikeouts for Mason Miller tonight, who has been dominating USC Upstate hitters from the jump.
He's been great. Look at his command here, the fastball going outside of the zone. These Spartan batters have just been baffled.
That was 3 straight strikeouts for Miller back in the 6th. And as the baby shark drifts away, the King Piranha jumps in. This is Mason Miller facing the middle of the lineup for Upstate, and Chase Matheny misses on strike 1. Miller has struck out 10 or more in his last 5 starts. He's about to do it here in the 7th. I wouldn't doubt it. Against 8-9-1 in the Upstate lineup. That ground ball goes over the head of the pitcher. Bobbled by Los Paludo, and a leadoff error allows a man to reach.
That's one of the few mistakes we've seen. There's been a lot of clean fielding plays. The ball kind of just dribbled out there. They couldn't make the play.
Gardner-Webb entered this tournament 2nd in fielding percentage. That's a rare mistake for Los Paludo over at short. Comes in with a .935 fielding percentage. So now a man on for a pinch hitter for USC Upstate. Jeff Taylor checks into this spot, and Taylor has been productive on the season, the junior out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Now can Taylor kickstart the Upstate Spartans, where he started 33 games and has hit .298. Mason Miller, with rare traffic on the bases, misses outside. Here comes pitch 100 from Mason Miller. And it's about 100 miles an hour as that ball's chopped foul.
Well, that's what's impressive. He still has that velocity. And we talked about the strength and conditioning, him adding weight. This is where it pays off for these pitchers. Lower body strength, continue to have that same arm speed, but also the power in your trunk to have that motion, whether it's the first inning or
not just the junk in the trunk?
No, not that.
It's a whole different type of power for Miller, who leads the conference in strikeouts. With 9 more tonight, Mason's up to 118 punch-outs, which is currently 1 shy of the nation's leader, Kumar Rocker, who is pitching tonight. So we will add a few more to his totals, but a very tight race. Now it's 2-1. Jeff Taylor, typically a starter. He comes off the bench today for USC Upstate, and they need his bat to get going in the heart of this lineup. Taylor, over his last 5 games, is just 1 for 8 at the plate. There's strike 2. And nothing helps a slump worse than seeing 95 on the black.
Well, and I think one of the biggest compliments you can give to Miller is you see the stuff, but he's a pitcher. The way that he can throw that fastball in, but work these counts, find the weaknesses of the batters and attack them in that area. He's not out there just throwing. He's got a game plan.
And the game plan leads to his 10th punch out of the evening for Mason Miller.
He goes back to the slider.
Mason Miller is mowing down hitters in this lineup. I'm not sure if he'll catch his career high of 13 strikeouts, but he's putting on a special display here in Fayetteville.
A big moment here, game 1 of this tournament. He's had his best stuff.
This is his 7th game with 10 or more strikeouts. 5 of those in a row. That has called a strike to Jack Hennessy in the top of the lineup. Hennessy 0 for 3 tonight. He reaches base about 40% of the time. 45% in fact. However, Upstate has not gotten much going against Mason Miller, first team all-conference arm. It's interesting in this ballpark, Jay, with right field playing so short. The home run, big bopping approach of Gardner-Webb has outslugged the single on-base percentage stolen base attack for USC Upstate tonight.
It has, and Gardner Webb has played to their strengths, which is that power. And they've used center field, right field, and left field. They've attacked the opposite field. We saw the deep shot from Parkhurst early on in this ball game where he drilled it, had a compact swing, let the ball go deep into the zone. But this is a balanced approach at the plate.
The only spot there is no real estate out there is where Zacchaeus Raspberry plays in left for Presbyterian. Right. He has tracked down everything in this tournament. Also was a single shy of the cycle in Game 1 today in a Presbyterian 7-2 victory. The 1-2 pitch is chopped foul off the foot of Jack Hennessy, and tip of the cap, we continue the at-bat.
And Evan, how impressive was Raspberry, though, in that ball game? I mean, he just took control of it.
Almost robbed 2 hits, in fact.
And he did it at the plate, but in the field is maybe even more impressive with his speed, with just his ability to recognize the ball at the bat and then track it down.
This is a hitters-friendly ballpark at Segra Stadium in Fayetteville, home of the low-A affiliate of the Houston Astros, the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. Tonight, it's Gardner Webb dominating USC Upstate, the matchup of the 2 and 3 seeds. With the 1-2 pitch chopped towards second, Eric Jones, a good scoop, and there's your second out. This might be the last inning for Mason Miller, and if it is, what a job well done. 109 pitches for the first-team all-conference arm, who has not slowed down one bit since allowing the home run back in the third.
And that's the question, what do you do here? I think this probably will be his last. You don't want to risk it here. He's pitched so good. Let him go out on a high note and have your bullpen close out the rest of this ball game.
6'5" right-hander. First-year transfer from Mercuryhurst, and he has dominated tonight. Talk about rearing up for your last display. Every scout just checked the radar gun and said, what did he just throw?
The scouts are still here watching this performance. It's so important for those guys to really get a read in their scouting report to see how the pitcher, the prospect, performs early on but also late on in the ballgame.
A 1-0 pitch, just a bit high in the zone.
Because they're tracking that velocity. When they go back and write their reports and talk to their staff, how is he looking the first inning? How's he looking later on in the ballgame? Those are all things they have to record and track. It's a big part of the puzzle when you're really putting together your scouting report on a player.
He faces a hitter in Julian Ripp, who just celebrated his birthday yesterday. Ripp with the pleasure of turning 23 for the elder statesman. He has the old man approach to the plate as he's up in the count 2-0. And Miller pinpoints on the outside. My gosh, that cutter is excellent.
And really, though, when you look at him, there's not a difference between now at pitch 111 or pitch 1 early on the first inning.
You think of a great arm like Gavin Williams of East Carolina, a similar type performance from Mason Miller tonight, the first-team all-conference arm. Who rears up ball 3 to Julian Ripp with Devin Buckner, his lone nemesis, coming up next for Upstate.
Gavin Williams from Fayetteville is going to be a high-round draft pick for East Carolina. Very similar stature, those two pitchers.
A rare 3-ball count for Mason Miller tonight. Front door breaking ball. There's your strike 2. You mentioned that play, and it's on full display. Chase Matheny would love to phone a friend and cash in a run here in the third. USC Upstate has not scored since the third inning on a 2-run shot by Devin Buckner, who waits on deck. Mason Miller picked up his 10th strikeout earlier this inning. 4 Ks in the last 2 frames. And here comes his payoff pitch. That is just foul. The chance there for Peroni. Instead, we'll have another. This might be one of the last chances to get something going against Mason Miller. Both him and Jordan Marks were first-team all-conference arms, separated by about 4 votes for pitcher of the year in the conference, and Miller has certainly stamped his ticket as an impact performer tonight. 6 2/3 innings of dominance. Here on 3 2, he adds a strikeout. 11 punch-outs for Miller to close out his night. Gardner-Webb leads by 8 as we go to the 8th inning. Well, time for the Ingles game summary. And in the matchup of the two top starting pitchers in the league, quickly out of the ballgame. Jordan Marks allows 6 runs early, and the Gardner-Webb offense, 2 huge home runs tonight.
Yeah, and early on, there was power in this offensive attack, but they continued to tack on runs, Evan, and just stretch out this lead, and Miller got better and better as this games wore on.
Also, Miller, of course, 11 strikeouts. What a way to close this night. 5 punch-outs in the last 2 innings, and now both teams go to the bench a bit here. Garrison moves behind the plate for USC Upstate. And let's see how Gardner-Webb addresses the rest of the way as a new pitcher checks in. Jake Kubler enters this ballgame. Jake Kubler, I should say, for USC Upstate.
You know, and Evan, one more point just back to Miller's performance. It's not only that he is, pitched a good ball game, only giving up 2 runs. It's those strikeouts are so defeating for your opponent. So when your offense is putting up runs and then your pitcher is out there striking batters out, defeating them, and sending them back to the dugout without putting the ball in play, that's such a huge boost. And Miller's done it at a high level all night.
This USC Upstate program backs against the wall, leading on the bullpen here late. Jake Kubler, the freshman from New Jersey. He has allowed runs in 3 of his last 4 outings, but has only pitched 4 times in the month of May. So I think this relief appearance kind of tells you the story of what USC Upstate is trying to do here in the 8th inning. Eric Jones leads things off for the running Bulldogs, and he watches strike 1. Because the Sawyer-Worrell decision was interesting because of how efficient he's been out of the pen this year, one of the top arms in terms of innings for Upstate. 1 quick inning, and he's out of the game for some mop-up arms late. Now it's 1-1. USC Upstate with a loss tonight will return tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. to take on Campbell in an elimination game right here on ESPN+. 1-1 pitch is skied out of play. Given how both games were decided for Campbell and USC Upstate, who from a psychological standpoint has the advantage entering tomorrow's game?
Well, Evan, that's a tough one. You hit me with a good one. I'll tell you, I just think, in that situation, a good pitch there for a strikeout, I think it's Gardner-Webb. I think they've got the edge because of the performance from the pitching staff, but also your bats.
And then in terms of the Campbell Upstate game, who would bounce back best tomorrow morning?
I think you look at Campbell, you've gotten more rest. You had the ability, to kind of, after that ball game, look at your mistakes, get your rest, and get ready for tomorrow morning, where Upstate is still playing, is still out on the field here, and it's 10:15, so that's a huge advantage for Campbell.
They have to return in 12 hours to play this game as Patrick Ferguson watches ball 1.
Now, what would you say about the winner's bracket game tomorrow? Who do you think has the edge?
I tell you, the momentum that Presbyterian has gained is certainly a jolt of confidence. I think Gardner-Webb's bats are the hottest lineup in this tournament, and that's what makes Gardner-Webb scary.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing, too, is you look at the pitching depth. So you may have one good performance today, but how's your number 2? How's your number 3 guy? How is your bullpen? Who's going to be rested is going to play a big part in that first ball game tomorrow.
Because Charlie McDaniel absolutely dominated Campbell with 6 innings of 1-run ball. Same thing for Mason Miller tonight. But to your point, how do the other arms respond as we go deeper in this tournament?
And I think it's going to have even more of an effect in Game 3 for these teams, maybe potentially Game 4, because at that point it's going to be like whose team has the better third pitcher? Which team has the better fourth arm? Which team can go deeper? And that's a huge aspect because you're not playing with your number 1 guy if he's already pitched a ball game.
So Jake Kubler with a 1-out walk. Now he faces KG Parkhurst, who absolutely demolished a ball to right field back in the second. He's now 2 for 4 on the evening. And our favorite Gardner-Webb fans have returned from their snack break. That pitch is called a strike.
Evan, I thought you said you were going to sneak down and get a sandwich.
It's definitely on my to-do list tonight.
You still got some time.
2 innings to go. You never know how long these games will go in. Oh, boy. KG Parkhurst absolutely smashes one out to center, and that is off the top of the wall for now a double. Look at the runner heading to the plate, and the throw is not in time, scoring Patrick Ferguson from first. And I thought that ball left the park.
Yeah, it should be a home run.
The umpires called for a review. And Parkhurst, he knows it. He thought he left the park. Instant replay is available here for these umpires as they discuss this call. So a challenge has been initiated by the umpires, and Jay, this is where things get interesting because it's where the ball hits the top of the wall, whether it's over and comes back or truly hits the yellow padding.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing here is, good decision going into the replay booth and making sure you get this call right. But this potentially would be home run number 2 on the night for Parkhurst.
I believe the best angle these umpires would have would be from the home plate angle just because of where that ball hits and the amount of cameras we have available at this ballpark. So that is a difficult decision to figure out as home plate umpire Joe Blumenbauer is going through his notes. Do you think that ball left the park?
I think that's a home run. But again, it's all about conclusive evidence. Are they going to have enough to overturn it? My initial thought was that was a home run, though.
If it is, it's the second home run of the day for KG Parkhurst, the transfer from Daytona State College. And none of our base cams will have the home run. So it's truly going to be that center field shot, or that's probably about it. And that's part of the delay is figuring out what angle works best and manipulating through all those different shots to find the one that kind of gives you the angle of the home run. And I think it's going to be whatever the call was on the field, the double will stand.
Oh, and no matter what this call is, how about the night of Parkhurst? I mean, he has been so good from the batter's box. We'll see here.
So our official decision is upcoming, and it's being explained to Jim Chester that the call will stand as an RBI double, not a clean angle to see it. So no home run, but a double for Parkhurst. It does score Patrick Ferguson, and now the booing Bulldogs don't agree with the call.
Well, they're going to be in disagreement, but again, another shot to straightaway center field.
KG Parkhurst was a few feet away from his first 2 home run games since May 7th. And Gardner-Webb goes to its bench late in this game. Benito Mandela, the freshman from Effingham, Illinois, out of the IMG Academy, checks in. And I bet if he asked Parkhurst, he would take it either way, a double or home run. Tough inning for Jake Kubler out of the bullpen. This lead is ballooned to 9. Gardner-Webb with 2 runs in the 5th, 2 more in the 6th, and now an RBI double in the 8th. That was the insurance that the Running Bulldogs desperately needed.
Yeah, and now, they've already started to mix in some of their reserves at this point. You can get some experience for some of your younger players and get ready for tomorrow's ball game.
Here's a line drive to short. That's scooped up on 2 hops by Matthews, and there's your first out. Benito Mandela grounds out his first at-bat of the tournament.
And, Evan, we talk about the early ball game in the losers bracket, but this is important now for Gardner-Webb. You get some of your starters a little bit of rest now. You have that breathing room, so you don't have the stress of this ball game necessarily. And 3 o'clock is still early as well, and they're going to have to kind of get moving early on in the morning. So it's important for them here in this point of the ball game to kind of rest a little bit, some of those guys, and again, shift. You want to finish this out, of course, but you got to shift your focus to tomorrow very quickly.
2 outs for Dom Perrone, who blasted a home run to right field back in the 6th, and that power alley in right field has become a hitter's paradise here as of late. The Runnin' Bulldogs, the top home run hitting team in the Big South. 2 more tonight. They're up to 65 home runs on the year. That ranks in the top 30 in the country, along with Campbell, both out of the Big South. And a good scoop by the new catcher, Garrison, behind the plate. Gardner-Webb entered this tournament in their last 10 games, hitting .310 with 22 home runs, and that streak has continued with an 11-run on 11-hit performance. That ball slapped out of play off the bat of Dom Perrone.
Against Radford last weekend, you won the first 2 games of the series. You dropped the last one. They've kind of consistently had winning streaks, putting positive performances together to be in the top 4 seeds.
That pitch is called inside, and it's 2-1 to Perrone. Dom's been on 3 times tonight, and even his lone at-bat, he was retired. It was a line drive to left. Breakout performance for Dom Perrone in the bottom of this lineup, the senior from Illinois. Check to swing, and there's strike 2. KG Parkhurst, a nice piece over there at third. He would love to add on a run in this inning, already up 11-2. And instead, he goes down swinging. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Gardner-Webb adds a run to its lead, 11-2, as we go to the bottom half. Gardner-Webb leads 11-2 here in the 8th inning. A chance to close out this start for Mason Miller, who returns to the mound. KG Parker's our Hercules' strong move of the game. And, boy, his home run broke this game open in the 2nd inning.
He did. Early on in this ball game, you see the power of Gardner-Webb and Parkhurst driving this ball out over right field. He started things off for his team.
Wait, but Jay, here's the strong move of the game. Hercules tires right on our strength as he bangs the gong.
Well, look at the force here. I don't know how that contraption stayed together there. I mean, there was some force as he drove that gong through.
And the home run was his 15th of the season as Mason Miller, 116 pitches in, returns for the 8th. He faces Devin Buckner, his nemesis tonight, who has a home run and a double off Miller, who's been dominant otherwise. Something tells me Mason Miller asked the coach, Jim Chester, I want to head back to the hill and retire Buckner to end my night.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to come out of the ball game, and that's why the coaching staff has to protect him as far as how many pitches he's thrown. But you want to give him the ball and let him close this out and go as deep as he possibly can.
Fools Buckner with a slider for strike 2. In fact, Mason Miller this year has thrown a 8-inning game. He's never thrown a complete game. Back-to-back 8-inning starts at the end of April. Wins over Winthrop and Charleston Southern. On 1-2, give him 12 strikeouts for Mason Miller.
That curveball has buckled the knees of the Spartans all night long. Look at that sweeping action falling out of the zone.
Noah Raybon steps in. He tries to stop the strikeout streak of Miller, who's punched out 6 in the last 3 innings as that ball misses up and in. Miller's career high 125 pitches. He's at 121 right now, so in a decent spot against Raybon, who's 0 for 3 with 3 ground ball outs. And good luck touching Mason Miller tonight. How about his ability to throw strikes this late into the game?
Well, it's not only talk about the physical conditioning, but how about the mental conditioning to keep your head in the ball game, even with this huge lead?
That's a good snag at third by Peroni. And the pick by Parkhurst. A full stretch and all to make the play.
He did the splits over there. And how about your teammates supporting you? Great defensive play.
And a lonely walk back to the dugout for Raybon as that play was bang-bang at first.
Look at Parkhurst there.
Just see him kind of push himself back up to it. When you do the splits, you got to be careful on the way up because then you tear the hammy, you tear the quad. It's a whole ordeal.
Hey, that's impressive.
Jason Matthews, the senior shortstop, takes just a bit outside.
There's certain people when you're doing warm-up stretches, kind of do it lackadaisical. But you can tell Parker's
look at this.
When it's time to stretch, he stretches.
Look at this flexibility. Ooh. That's going to hurt in the morning, at least if you don't stretch enough.
Yeah, I mean, it may – I mean, for most people, you may not come back from that. You may have something torn.
KG Parkhurst with our new Hercules tire strong move of the game, and it comes from flexibility. As the 2-0 pitch just misses inside to Jason Matthews, who is 0 for 3 with a set of strikeouts tonight. Not the first or the last man to go down via the punch-out. 12 strikeouts for Mason Miller. Whoa, that's ball 4. I thought he would earn that call here in the 8th inning. This is a new career high in pitches now for Mason Miller, who's crossed 127. And all signs he wants to stay in this game here in the 8th.
Yeah, he wants to get this last out. And get out of this inning, then he can go over to the dugout.
There is an arm slowly warming up in the Gardner-Webb bullpen. That pitch is called a ball to Easton Cullison, who's 1 for 3 tonight. Mason Miller back to it, and his fastball poked out to center. McClendon watches as Brazil comes in to make the catch. That is 8 quality innings for Mason Miller tonight, tying his career high. And Gardner-Webb is 1 inning away from a victory here in the Ingles Big South Championship.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip Hop Group Tag Team to help you plan dessert?
French vanilla, rocky road, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, there it is. Scoop, shakalaka, 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 shaka. Scoop, shakalaka, shakalaka, shakalaka.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Whether it's the practice field or weight room, in class or on game day, we compete down here. We put in work, day in and day out, to take a step forward towards degrees, championships. Our goals? Excellence on every level. 11 schools, more than 4,000 student athletes, one attitude. We are the Big South, where winners are made.
Just keep your eye on the ball. At Ingles, we know that big dreams don't always make it to the big leagues. But we also know that baseball, it's family. It's about building character. And as sure as there'll be some stumbles on that journey from first to home, we'll be right there, cheering you on. This is baseball, and this is who we are. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Ingles is a proud sponsor of Big South Athletics. With everything you need to cheer your team on to victory, from ice-cold beverages to platters of amazing food to fuel your road trip, Ingles, we're with you every step of the way. We've been with you every step of this Big South Championship. Thank you for joining us from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Gardner-Webb dominating this game, too. 11-2 the lead, and now USC Upstate goes to the bullpen. Kyle Schmidt enters in relief, and Schmidt has thrown just 6 outings, an ERA of 10.5 on the year, as Upstate looks to get 3 final outs here in this game. Not an easy set of outs either against a Gardner-Webb offense that has scored not only 11 runs, but they have knocked the ball all over the park with that 6-run second inning, a really dominant start to this Big South tournament. So here's J.P. McGuire, the catcher, who had a hit a part of that 6-run, 6-hit second inning. And now digs in to start the 9th. 7, 8, 9 in the Gardner-Webb lineup. Kyle Schmidt, a former starter in the rotation in 2019, now a bullpen reliever here in his final season, mostly in mop-up duty. The senior has thrown 82 innings in his career. Faces McGuire, who's reached base twice. All of a sudden, it's 10:30 tonight, and that 11 a.m. start time really starts to sneak up on USC Upstate.
Well, 12 and a half hours from this point right now, and there's still more time here in this ballgame, travel time back to the hotel. Obviously the adrenaline from tonight is going to take a while to wear off. So this is going to be a late night for Upstate, and then tomorrow morning you have to get here early in preparation for that ballgame. So not going to be a lot of sleep time here tonight, and you got to come back tomorrow and have some emotion and energy to start off the ballgame.
That was a good swing by J.P. McGuire as he pops it out of play. Sounds like you're due for a big nap tonight, Jay, is what you're suggesting.
Well, I mean, I feel like we deserve it. I mean, aren't you going to get a good night's
this
rest?
whole crew's worked their tails off all day. We
Yeah.
appreciate everyone's hard work getting us to this point. Now on 2-2, Schmidt comes home, and it's fought off by J.P. McGuire. I love the music here from the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. It's inspiring this crowd tonight as they are speechless at what Gardner-Webb's done offensively. This pop fly might stay in the park as Julian Rip gives chase, and actually it doesn't. It's a long foul ball.
Nevin, how about this facility? I mean, what a reward for these teams to make it to this point and have the opportunity, the platform to play here at Segura Stadium with so much on the line. The support from the fans has been really good here today. A beautiful ballpark.
Another 2-2 from the senior Kyle Schmidt. Blows it by McGuire for the punch-out.
Schmidt going to the fastball. Got that compact delivery. Really good mechanics. You see that ball kind of have that extra tail, that whip at the end to get the strikeout. See this ball up in the zone a little bit. The inner part of the plate. It's too much velocity.
Upstate, 6 walks and 9 strikeouts as a pitching staff tonight. They entered this game with the best strikeout to walk ratio in the league, and while that's not been their undoing, it certainly has not helped from the pitching standpoint. As Jordan Marks, the ace and Big South pitcher of the year of this staff, went just an inning and a 2/3. He allowed 6 runs and was out of the game in a hurry. This pop fly might be trouble. There's the first baseman, Gallagher, to make the play. From the standpoint that Campbell's bullpen is more rested, I think they have the advantage heading into tomorrow's 11 a.m. matchup. From a standpoint of motivation, both teams have had a difficult loss, so they should be motivated heading into tomorrow's elimination game.
Well, I mean, you're in a spot you didn't expect yourself to be in, so you got to come out, have that urgency. Your back's against the wall, and you've got to fight, for yourself to extend your run here. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm a player out there, it's going to be a quick turnaround, but I'm playing out there like my hair's on fire because I know what that game stands for and what the opportunity is that lies ahead of you.
Gardner-Webb searching for its first trip to the Big South Final since 2011, where they lost to Coastal Carolina, who won 6 straight titles in that span. Campbell searches for his 3rd straight Big South title this year, but they have some work cut out for him here in the elimination round tomorrow morning against most likely USC Upstate. And if not, this game will be on SportsCenter tonight. So there's always that aspect of it. Here's Kyle Schmidt, the senior reliever, out of the pen. And he misses high with the fastball. Gardner-Webb is in line to play Presbyterian tomorrow. The Runnin' Bulldogs won 2 of 3 in that series, where they blasted 5 home runs on the weekend. They averaged 7 runs a game as well. It's their strike one. They also had no trouble hitting Presbyterian's ace in Charlie McDaniel, who threw 6 innings of 1-run ball today against Campbell. But as we've seen, you can forget the regular season stats when it comes to a playoff berth. As there's a 5-pitch walk to Las Paludo. He's on now for the 4th time this evening.
He's just found a way to continue to get on base. That's been kind of the same. We've said that for every batter tonight, whether it's been the power, manufacturing hits, walks. They've just put pressure on this pitching staff all night long.
There's Mitch McClendon, the center fielder for Gardner-Webb. This is the first matchup for these two in Big South tournament play. Upstate, a 3rd-year member of the Big South Conference, had their best finish ever this year, 28-12. Also set a program record for victories with 37 wins overall. There's a strike. Right now, USC Upstate is top 50 in the national RPI. Campbell has joined them in that stat among the Big South, and Gardner-Webb, a top 100 team in the RPI. First time in 6 years there have been 3 top 100 RPI teams in the Big South at the same time of the year as that pitch misses up.
You look at the talent at the top of this league, and that's evident. But it's also the depth throughout the league. And, teams that were picked maybe in the middle part with Presbyterian at 8, Gardner-Webb at 6 in the preseason, exceeding expectations. So the depth of this league is at a high level.
That is called strike 3, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. Gardner-Webb is 3 outs away from starting 1-0 in the Ingalls Big South Championship. Big South Baseball is brought to you by Hercules Tires. Right on our strength. Visit HerculesTires.com. And by Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com tonight, tomorrow, whenever. By Sunbelt Rentals, we have equipment for that. And by Jersey Mike's, a sub above, proud sponsor of the Big South Conference. Mason Miller's night is done, and Connor Gleason checks in for Gardner-Webb. Job well done by Miller. And Gleason, the junior, he's a unique story from Glendowie, New Zealand, at a South Florida State College, a transfer. And now he tries to put the finishing touches on a dominant Gardner-Webb victory.
And a good opportunity for him to come in here, continue to close out this ball game, and keep this pitching staff fresh. With Miller eating up 8 innings, you have Gleason coming in here, can finish this off, give him some experience early on. He's got a 3-quarter delivery here, good fastball. And I've just been impressed, Evan, with this play of Gardner-Webb here tonight.
Upstate down to its final 3 outs. It'll be the bottom third in the order as well. After Mason Miller matches his career high with 8 innings pitched, allowed just 2 runs on a 2-run shot back in the third. And if we talk about early contenders for all tournament team, Mason Miller is on that list, Zacchaeus Raspberry on that list, and KG Parkhurst has joined the party with his home run and a couple of hits tonight.
Yeah, those guys, what they've been able to do today, it's not only individual performances, but they've kind of led their team, and you could see them change the temperature down on the field for their ball clubs. Really,
because it was warm today. That temp was very warm.
They got it even hotter for their team.
Bottom of the 9th here for Connor Gleason, who enters for Mason Miller in line for his 8th win of the season. Jordan Marks about to drop his 2nd game of the year. Worth noting, in 15 starts, USC Upstate is 12-3 in those games, with the 3rd loss being tonight. So much of their success rides around Jordan Marks and Alex Garberick, who will get the ball tomorrow morning against Ryan Chassie. 2 all-conference pitchers battling it out. And that's for elimination's sake tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Well, and that's a game of how do you respond to adversity. You know, when you get knocked down, do you let that affect you the next time, or do you come back with that winning mentality? So it'll be interesting to see, especially early on in that ball game, which team can rise to the challenge.
That slider from Gleason stays outside, so the count is 1-1. 2-1, in fact, now on the pitch. Gallagher 1 for 3 tonight with a single back in the 4th, one of 6 hits for USC Upstate. Other than a quick change of the uniforms and maybe an ironing board for USC Upstate, how do they shake off the rust of today's loss?
You got to forget this one. I mean, and ball games like this, so much of it is mental. This is a great team. There's a reason they're the number 2 seed.
That's a 5-pitch walk.
Baseball is such a mental game. It's a game of failure. So when you do have some failure, how do you respond to that? I think you've just got to forget this game and then come out here tomorrow with that winning mentality. The coaching staff is going to have to lift the players up and be very positive in the morning.
Walk This Way is a very fitting song for how Gardner-Webb has dominated this game, with Mason Miller strutting around this ballpark. 12 strikeouts in 8 innings tonight. Gleason's first pitch stays outside to Chase Matheny. I'd imagine Jim Chester would love to throw out this final arm and get through the 9th, but there is action in the pen just in case. And now buying some time for that pen as McGuire heads out to the hill. Along with the entire pitching staff. Connor Scarborough, the pitching coach, his 3rd year at Gardner-Webb. Former volunteer assistant at Adobo, who's risen up the ranks now to the assistant staff after graduating from Gardner-Webb in 2013. I like it. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Yep. Now, if we had a little jog there, it'd make it even better, but still taking the time to help out in the bullpen.
You got to fit the running bulldog mentality there.
Yeah. You got to stay true to your name. Doesn't have to be a sprint, but a jog will do.
I'm not sure if jogging Bulldogs looks as cool on a T-shirt as running Bulldogs. Chase Matheny watches strike one. Good response after the meeting of the mound. So USC Upstate, after starting off fantastic to the year, 15-0, hitting some tough times here down the stretch. They are 3-3 in their last 6 games. This is Spirit at third. There's one. Safe at first. Jones almost turned the double play.
A stretch over at first again by Parkhurst. Almost able to get the out.
He doesn't get cheated on those stretches. I mean, KG obviously enjoys the low stirrup socks, so he must enjoy getting those things dirty.
This is quick turn. I'll tell you, when you're out in the field, but you've got a first baseman that you know that's like a vacuum cleaner. It's going to cut down the angle with that stretch. Such a huge advantage.
Garrison unloads on the first pitch. That is an absolute bomb into the bullpen of Gardner-Webb, and USC Upstate strikes for 2 runs in the 9th. That's a difficult reaction there for Garrison because you want to be excited for your pitch hitter. You also know the solemn circumstance on this monstrous shot.
You know, the extension right there, that ball in the inner part of the plate, he just drilled it.
That's the first home run of the season, by the way, for Garrison, who looks very experienced in those home run trots.
Yeah. That's a good at-bat there, though, sitting, just turning on that fastball.
Now Jack Hennessy in the top of this order as he takes one outside. It's a 1-1 count. First runs for the USC Upstate Spartans since the 3rd. So all 4 runs tonight have come on the home run for a team that only hits 21 home runs this year. Credit Mason Miller in shutting down USC Upstate tonight. 8 innings of 2-run ball. Connor Gleason gets the assignment here in the 9th, trying to shut this game and give Gardner-Webb a 1-0 start to the tournament. A ticket to play Presbyterian tomorrow at 3 o'clock on ESPN+. Or wake up early in the morning from Boiling Springs, drive across the state to Fayetteville, and get your ticket. Watch the game in person as well. Could be pretty fun.
There you go. 2 good options.
If you can take time off work on a Friday, why not? The 2-2 is skied out of play. Connor Gleason on 2-2. Hennessy lays off, and the count is full. Okay, so that woman there is filming some cell phone reaction. She must know the on-deck hitter, Julian Ripp. 3-2. That's line to left, and caught on the move. Brazil gets the second out. And it's actually Mandela who checked in this half inning.
1 out away for Gardner-Webb to close this out. This is going to be a total team victory.
Connor Gleason 1 out away from closing out the 9th. And now he faces Julian Ripp. This should do it. Ground ball to Peroni, who has a home run tonight, and a nice play at third to wrap things up as Gardner-Webb closes out an 11-4 victory. They move on to the winner's bracket semifinals against Presbyterian tomorrow afternoon.
A dominating performance. Miller led the way, striking out hitters left and right. Huge performance on the hill, but this the batting attack here tonight, Evan, they did their job with the power, manufacturing runs, complete victory. And now they get to rest in that winner's bracket. They're going to play tomorrow at 3.
Mason Miller absolutely dominant for his 8th victory of the season. He goes 8 innings strong. And Jordan Marks, the pitcher of the year in the conference, is out with a loss tonight. Here's the upstated bracket. How about tomorrow morning? USC Upstate and Campbell play for elimination's sake. That's the first game of the day. Then Gardner-Webb and Presbyterian with the winner of that game needing just one more victory to clinch a Big South title.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see the response from Upstate and Campbell tomorrow, and then knowing the importance, Gardner-Webb Presbyterian, who can get that victory and get the rest to get to Saturday.
Our final score, Gardner-Webb 11, USC Upstate 4, and the bracket is flipped upside down. For Jason Halter and our entire crew, I'm Evan Budrovich. To watch this game on replay, visit on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.